Oh God, don't talk about it, bro.
Who is it?
I'm not gonna lie.
Buddy.
This is like some super embarrassing story and shit.
Well,
Like,
It
wait,
ain't
wait,
embarrassing.
I was gonna wait till the end of the fucking podcast.
I think it just proves that if you buy if you pay
No.
for ad revenue on YouTube, your shit videos.
Oh,
will
you're
pop
talking
up.
about Destiny?
Oh,
I didn't even
God,
know the
yo,
name,
Jesus
honestly.
Christ.
Destiny Fontino or
Oh,
something.
Well,
Like
what's the
God,
name of
yo.
the channel,
Damn,
We're
you know her
live,
last
yo.
name?
dude?
that? No, I don't think the name of no, that's the name of the channel. Is Destiny
You
Fontino, I
guys.
think.
You motherfucker.
See, I
The
don't know
channel
that.
is her name.
So we've been talking about this because this
the hell?
person pops up in our fucking suggested feed, and it says it's a paid ad, so someone's paying.
Right.
And I've been saying since the first set, like probably 5 minutes into a video, that this person's fake. This is not her collection. She's not a gamer. Well, I didn't say she wasn't a gamer. I said that's not her collection. There's no doubt about it in my mind. And Robert was just telling us she just called Luigi's Haunted Mansion. She didn't know the name of the game.
I thought I was the first to call her out on her bullshit.
That was my
Yeah,
first
T-
reaction.
You should be used to not getting recognition.
I was showing the guy at work, and I'm like, this isn't her fucking collection. And then she starts talking, and I'm like, yeah.
Let me defend.
Robert
Let me
keeps
just say-
clicking on these videos, and then they
No,
pop
let
up
me-
in a
let me
suggested
say-
feed.
Fucking algorithms.
Let me say, yo, God
Oh, Destiny
damn, bro.
4. I'm sorry.
Oh
Destiny
my God,
4.
yo, dude, we're just digging it deeper. But what I was saying is that the reason we brought up that because I saw it, it was on my recommended, and I click a lot of recommended shit. Remember, I sent you guys the recommended video like the yesterday, but I click a lot of recommended because you like to check if YouTube's doing their shit right, and so I clicked.
They're not.
And I think they've been doing better. They recommended some Reggie videos to me and stuff. I was watching the Reggie video, but regardless, I clicked this one and it's just like they don't believe. I think it is. I just don't think it would go through all that to just make it where it's not her collection.
But how can you be that gullible?
But like
man?
it's just it is tough
we
to
be trying
defend.
train you
It's tough
here.
to defend when someone says Luigi's Haunted Mansion. Like it's just tough. I'm not gonna lie.
It comes off disingenuous.
I don't think
as
Robert's
hell.
good at reading
all
people.
you have to do is listen to her.
Listen
and
to
how
the
she
tone of
talks
her
about
voice,
these
her
games.
her
The
delivery.
tone, it is so delivered.
There's
It's
no
so
passion whatsoever.
Prepackaged. No passion.
If you're
Like,
willing to spend, what was it? One video was like, here's all this cash. It was like $1,000 or something, maybe more. Maybe it was like 10,000. I forget what it was. Talking about this game, zero passion in her voice, zero like I don't know the word I'm looking for. Where it's just like she's
authenticity.
excited about
she
the
just sounds- she
potential
doesn't
of
sound
getting
real.
this game
She
and
sounds
what it would
made
mean
up.
to her. None of that's there. It's just reading a script very poorly, I might add.
And the critique her is not hating. Because people, oh, you just hate. Not hating. I don't care that. I mean that she, does what she does. But I'm gonna call out what it is. Like that's it's fake.
Yeah,
I
don't
can't-
pretend like it's a legit. I understand you want whoever's, in my opinion, whoever's backing that channel, whoever's game collection that is, probably figured that he'd have a better shot having an attractive woman be his, spokesperson, basically.
Spokesperson, yeah,
and just
like
say
that-
that. Just say that, and I think.
I understand that. Like I get that.
Yeah, but I mean that ruins.
That's
but
smart
people-
marketing. I
but-
understand.
But
It
yeah, if you
doesn't
look at
work
the
to say it's
comments,
real, though.
if you look at the comments, oh my God, well, can I marry you? Your looks and you're a
Thirsty-
gamer
it's
with
thirst
that
all in the
collection.
comment.
Like, it's just like I just can't believe anyone would fall for that. I just
Oh my God, she's
I
a
don't know why
gamer. She
you're
has a huge
surprised.
collection like that, and she's gorgeous. Blah blah. No, it's not true.
You're not. I don't know why you're surprised.
You got
when
half of
listen
that
to
right,
it.
but that's not. Her
I mean,
collection.
she might have a really good job and might be making good money, but to have that collection in that background, you got to be willing to spend like in that one video, tens of thousands of dollars to have that collection. You would be
Bruh.
passionate and you would know your shit.
Yeah, not only tens of thousands of dollars, but tens of thousands of hours.
Mhm.
Especially on some of these Switch games, you have to be in tune, waiting for that thing to come out. Especially a lot of the limited run stuff. Like you have to be ready to go to be able to get these games because they don't last for very long.
I don't think she's
Some of
even
these games,
old
they're
enough.
not
Never
retail.
stop
We're not talking
coming.
about retail games here. We're talking about games you can only get at certain stores, games you can only get online, games you can only get through limited run. Her Switch collection is redunculous.
Do you think she's even
So-
old enough to have to even care or want like those old NES games and all the like retro
Right.
games? Like I don't see that to me, she looks like she's in her early 20s, if not. I don't know.
She's early 20s. I'd love her to prove me wrong, but
I mean,
really
yeah, I'd
good
love
at
to be wrong, but
sniffing out, person's characteristic. Like that's one of my greatest traits is that I can really figure you out in the first few minutes of knowing you.
well, one of the videos had I would say a 40-something guy with a shaved head, and he apparently was her guest, and he's like,
that.
"Oh, what a impressive collection you have." It sounds like the worst.
He was as forced as she was.
It's his damn collection. It's
probably his collection, right? And he's pretending it's
no.
not.
I mean, because he's been doing videos.
Unless that is a known YouTuber, I don't know.
It's like Dope Fantastic. I forget his name. Crazy Dope Fantastic. I think.
Okay, I haven't seen him. I'm just going off of what
you talking about a black guy with bald head.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he's always on Metal Jesus
Okay,
Rocks.
so he might be.
Yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah.
Still,
no, that's Reggie. Talking about Reggie?
Am I talking about Reggie? I covered in
that's
halfway
who
here.
Pocket is talking about. That's Reggie.
Okay, I'm talking about
yeah, it
something
was a guest came on and was like, "That's a really impressive collection," and it was just like that. It was said like that, like somebody who was going off a script, and it's like it just doesn't come across. If it is genuine, it's too scripted to feel genuine, and I don't believe it. Nothing. There's almost nothing that could be shown. I mean, I'd have to see just some real passion.
I'd stake my entire collection on that. Her collection is not.
All you have to do is ask her one like question about some of those rare games off the cuff, like get her like in a live situation, and just ask her like one or two questions of something that T would probably could come up with one.
I dare you to do a live stream and have viewer questions
and actually answer a question without knowing that was going to happen. So no studying could be done. And just say
no pre-scripted questions. Let me come in right
just
now.
Just be like, yeah, what about this? What do you say about this game, or how rare is this game, and see if you can get a legit answer. But anyway, enough of that. Enough of that shit.
Came out of nowhere.
I'm just glad.
Don't be gullible.
I don't
people.
get
That's
that.
all we saying.
And it does make me wonder though what it costs to get that sponsored ad for a channel.
Probably ain't cheap.
Because I was like, at some point, I don't know if probably wouldn't work for us, but I was like, yeah, if we could I think if we could get our foot in the door with this podcast to a bigger audience, I think we could keep it. But,
well, to be fair, actually, no. Google ads, if you look them up, they could be pretty cheap. Like if you look up
because that was coming up in all our feeds. Like every one of us that
it kind of
depends. Right now.
It depends on how much. To be fair, to get to all of us, she probably has a lot of ads. But I don't really know exactly.
I don't know of another. Maybe you guys in the
this feels like deja vu.
Tell me. I don't know of another off the cuff, just authentic Nintendo centered podcast out there. I don't know of one. If you do, let me know because we should be cornering the market on that shit, I think. But.
All right, so let's talk about some real stuff. First, I'm just gonna, for those that follow me on Twitter, saw on Saturday I did a little mod to my Joy-Cons, and that was fun. It was challenging, but I enjoyed the challenge. I put a D-pad on the left one, and I changed basically the shell. I didn't really want to go with white, but it seemed like it was either white or like a translucent color scheme. I don't know. I couldn't really find one. But yeah, I took the Joy-Cons apart, and let me get my photos up so people can see. But yeah, that's a hell of a process. T, I know you got in there.
I've done it twice on 4 different Joy-Cons.
And I didn't think I got the analog stick ribbon cable back in, and I was actually surprised when it worked when I turned it back on. But yeah, it's
what is your experience though with
that was my first time ever unhooking a ribbon cable in a especially a compact device like that.
Yeah, well, so I have experience, so for you it's probably.
But I watch,
way more.
I've been watching tech videos for months now, a couple months of guys tearing apart switches and Joy-Cons, so I knew what I was in for. But I will say though that
I'm giving you more credit.
Yeah,
because you don't have
okay.
the
yeah, I didn't think you were bashing me. I was just saying I was kind of I worked my way through it, and I didn't go on completely green. Like I had a general idea of everything I needed to do, but that D-pad feels so fucking nice. I didn't know how it was gonna work. I was like, is this because it's the motherboard? You can't tell the difference between a D-pad and the buttons. They look the same. The little black circles on the motherboard. It clicks so nice, and it feels absolutely perfect. And I did the little test thing, and it never once registered a wrong direction. I hit left, and it never once went up or down like my Pro controller had a tendency to do. It feels fucking amazing. So I'm happy I did it. I don't play that often in portable mode, but the only downside now is I can't use my little gel grip things because that doesn't have the thing for the D-pad, and then it just covers up the nice. All I did, the color. I like the white, so I'm gonna look at getting just one of those slip-in grips for portable play. But got the color buttons, and the right one was definitely way more challenging. It's got a lot more stuff with the IR camera, the NFC chip, and there's the very base of it at the bottom. There's it's like a structure. I don't know what it's made out of. It's like black. I wouldn't say it's not plasticky, but it's like some kind of. I don't know what it's for, but it was kind of hard getting that up, and so the right one's definitely way more compact, and I had a lot more trouble with it. But overall, I'm glad I did it. It was more of a test my skills, see if I could do it thing, but I'm actually very happy. The D-pad feels fucking amazing. So
Does that make you appreciate how much more how much tech is inside each of the Joy-Cons? How much they squashed in it?
yeah, I mean, it makes me appreciate it, but also it's like, what was it even worth it? The IR camera thing, like how much bullshit that added, like was that even worth it? Like, I think they went a little overboard with that because they haven't even used it themselves other than 1-2 switch. So, I guess Labo uses it too, but
yeah, Labo uses.
So for Labo, I'm sure they're glad it's in there, but for me, I'd rather have less stuff in there, but it does make me realize that shit's crammed in there. I'm surprised that they got it all crammed in there, but at the same time, the downside is having to use these less than ideal analog sticks with a lot of people getting the drift and stuff, and I could see how dirt's getting in there because there isn't that much. There's just a little rubber membrane that I hit it with some alcohol. Mine weren't drifting, but I cleaned them while I had it apart, and then I hit it with some air, and I was like, man, I see how shit gets in there for sure. I personally,
but if you really take care of them, there will be no problems, right?
Mine didn't have drift.
You just got to take better care of your Joy-Cons. It's not a design flaw. Okay.
You also could take better care of your Joy-Cons.
I think it's a little both, but it's definitely no other anybody ever have an analog stick drift like that other than when it just got so used over the years that it was just obviously stuff's gonna break down inside it.
Yeah. Again, my N64 controller.
Hey man, look, I'm just saying we got all those clickbait titles when the light came out saying, "Oh, the light has drift," when drift was caused by dirt and shit getting into it. It wasn't caused.
Yeah, but how did it get into that quickly?
That was the point I was making.
Unless somebody intentionally tried to get it in there.
Yeah, it's called bait. It's clickbait. That's what it is.
But I haven't heard any widespread. But at the same time,
well, you should not this fucking early.
I tell you like this: if it's just a user error, you best believe Nintendo would not be repairing these things for free.
Yeah,
you better believe that. If it was just, you guys aren't taking care of your stuff better, you think Nintendo will be fixing these things for free? Hell to the no.
And I know why they charge $80 because they have to pay. Somebody has to put these damn things together, and it's not. It's not simple. With these small...
So the biggest cause of the drift is dirt getting underneath the building.
It's like wear and tear essentially.
If you look at the inside the joystick, they have this little
I know that little rubber.
Yeah, that wears out and it flakes. So the little flakes are flying around in there, and the shit's registering when you're not even doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shame. And I will say another thing I meant to, I've been watching these guys tear down the switches and stuff, and they were doing like an eBay challenge where they'd buy five items, try to repair them, and sell them for a profit. And somebody did a PSP or the PlayStation Vita, and I know it's smaller overall and stuff, but the Vita just like build quality wise is it's significant step. It's a significantly higher quality than the Switch when seeing them both tore down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I mean, it had an OLED screen for one, and those were super expensive, even back then. But just like having aluminum top where the Switch has the plastic that's bends and cracks. People had the cracks around the ventilation thing, and it's like I do see the where they kind of cheaped out on some of the stuff. The Joy-Cons, the L and R button, it's like when you look at it on the motherboard, it's not braced hardly at all. So I guess nothing we're gonna do.
Open, that shit flies right out.
But yeah, the actual like on the motherboard, there's this little button, and it's freaking tiny. I mean, when you're watching these videos under microscopes, you don't realize how small they are, and it's just barely braced, like with just some solder. And I watched a guy repair like 20 different sets of Joy-Cons, and like that was on, I'd say 80% of them was just that R button. The R and L buttons were just breaking off the motherboard. So I'm sure you have to really press on them hard because I haven't had any issues.
That's a user
problem. It's a weak link
issue.
When that many have that same problem. But yeah, did my Wii U have the joystick drift? No. Lightning? Like I don't think anybody's had any drift.
I didn't know what joystick drift was until.
No, I never heard of it. I knew it with
none of my controllers.
I've seen broken N64 sticks before where it just went automatic. And then in some stores, I remember it was a Wii demo, a Wii kiosk, just a standard Wii. The analog stick on the nunchuck at one of the stores I went to was fucking broke. But they got these people using it for 3-4 years. Got kids probably. Fell a bunch of times, and it's like
it ain't mine. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, but if you really want a D-pad, I mean it's doable. I had to buy a screwdriver set that was like $12 and some plastic pry tool set. I didn't have to, but the ones that come with it are so freaking cheap. Because those tri-wing screws are real. They were really in there. It was a little bit to get them out. They don't just come out real easy. Without
or you can just pay $20 and get the Ori Mario.
You can get the Ori one that only works in docked, and
it only works in docked though.
And it's just the left Joy-Con, right?
It's right now. I don't know why. Yeah, that's the thing.
For that price, because
I think it's like 15 to 20 now.
Yeah, I mean you can find the shells and stuff for like $20. I paid 26, but I was very surprised at how awesome the D-pad feels just by changing that out. So.
I wonder if this will ever get Joy-Con drift. I'm looking at it now, the Ori one. It's the same fucking.
Because when you look at, like, I took my Xbox controller apart when I was having a problem with the A button, and the rubber pads, that your hand go on, those just as soon as you get the faceplate off, those just come right off, and then it's just like, the actual analog, the guts of it are the separate. Like device I don't even know if it's removable individually or not, but so that rubber piece is completely conceals, like you couldn't get underneath there with the way it's designed, and so it's more of a standard joystick, which the Pro controller has something more like the Xbox controller. I believe it's the same, but yeah, it was fun. I think I'm gonna do some more little things here. I took my N64 controllers apart and cleaned them for the first time ever. And yeah, what a difference going from that to the Joy-Cons. I don't think there is even a ribbon cable. I think there's one kind of a ribbon cable in the N64 controller. In just one Joy-Con, I think there's like 6. Because you got the analog stick one, you got the L and R buttons have them. And then you have the ZL, ZR buttons on the rail. There's one for each of those. And then a couple for like the IR sensor. What the hell's that noise? Clocked it? Got some feedback.
Yeah, building a robot over there?
Not did anything.
Yeah, it's feedback coming through your little symbols going off that you're talking.
Crossing the streams and shit.
Sorry.
But anyway, get on to the first kind of real topic here. There it is again. Mute your mic, clocked it. Let's see if that takes care of it.
Right there. Okay, I think it's okay now.
Yep, that's better. So, this has been a bit of a topic in the Discord group. Well, a few people. Nintendo put out official ad on their YouTube channel for their Black Friday deal, and then it was also part of I don't know if it's an email, but people got it. They got the notification, hey, this is Nintendo's Black Friday deal for the Switch. And it was exactly the same as last year's, which I thought was funny. But so the ad is 30 seconds long. It shows kids playing, and then it says our special offer for the Nintendo Switch for Black Friday is a Nintendo Switch with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe digital code for $299.99. So what do you guys think? Just off the cuff, as far as a Black Friday deals. I don't know in Europe how Black Friday stuff works, but
That's pretty pathetic.
What'd you think, especially considering last year's was identical, same price, same game?
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
It's the game Mario Kart, right?
Yeah.
So it's the game that cost them literally nothing. And
from my perspective, it's always because here in Europe we don't do Black Friday and that kind of shit. So my anticipation for Black Friday is watching people stampede into stores and shit. That's what I want to see. And I know it's brutal. I know people legit die there and shit, but it's just so surreal to me where people would literally risk their lives for cheap TVs and shit. And usually for me, it's known you got giant flat screen TVs for $20 and shit. And I saw the list of games, and I think Nintendo showed, I don't know where I saw the list of games Nintendo offered for Black Friday. That's why, and I posted it in the chat. I was like, is it me? Am I just such a cheap bastard? Or are these basically the normal prices of the games? If you give me $5 off to me, no matter where it is, what kind of sale, it's not a sale.
Well, I mean, it was 20.
$5.
It was 20, but the I didn't see the full list, but the highlighted games.
No, there were a bunch of games that were the same price, and I think there were one or two games. Fuck, I forgot now which one.
No,
I'm saying
they were even more expensive.
It depends on the store, but the main ones I saw was that the main Nintendo highlight games were $20 off.
But it was only the ones they listed were the ones that were out within the first year. I didn't see any of them.
No, I didn't see anything new.
So it was Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Tropical Freeze.
I just feel like
Super Mario Party type of stuff. So,
like I said, I personally wasn't surprised.
I'm not surprised either. Just because
it's already selling without the sale, so they're not.
Yeah, it's without sale, and Black Friday is a man-made thing, dude. It ain't a real thing. In the end of the day, they could just sell whatever they want whenever they want. Anyway, it's gonna sell. So,
to be fair, some of the third-party games are on sale, which is fine.
Well, let me add the final layer to this.
That's not the point.
The final layer is at the very bottom in the fine print. This is the fine print. Includes original Nintendo Switch model HAC001, but battery performance ranges between 2.5 to 6.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean that part sucks. Though.
So it's the original Switch, and then it turns out this was their way of clearing out the old stock of the old, basically now obsolete Switch that they're not manufacturing anymore.
And that is the point.
So for me, that's kind of in the realm of deceiving your customers, your fans, because last year it was the current Switch model. It was the only option, and now for the exact same price, it's the obsolete version, and it doesn't clearly say that, even though they've covered their ass with the fine print. I just think that's a little deceiving, especially.
I guess they should put on the box
I'm sure it says it somewhere tiny on the back of the box. I'm sure it will, but
put a nice sticker on the front.
Or a sticker, yeah, something.
That way you don't have to remanufacture the box.
Just have a version 1 battery model. I don't know,
or I'll do you better. Offer that one up for $279.99.
Yeah.
Knock something off of knock a few bones off of it.
Yeah, I think something to tell people, hey, this is a different somebody could ask, why is this one so much cheaper? And they're like, well,
Right.
it's because it's the original one with the shorter battery life. Because I mean, in the ad, the first ad shows a kid getting the brand new Switch box with the new one. Everyone knows, has the new box art. For the Black Friday ad, they cut at right before he sees the box and then moves on past it. So, they use the same basic footage, but just cut out that part of him getting it in the new box, which most people would probably know. I don't know. Most average consumer ain't gonna know.
Average. Yeah,
Do you have a part 3 to the question? Because I think you alluded to one anyway.
I didn't have anything else other than.
Okay. Well, what I was getting from it was, you're talking about Furukawa or Doug Bowser.
Well, somebody asked that. Clock did ask that.
Okay. I must have.
So how much would the latest model of the Switch be with a copy of Mario Kart download?
That would be 360 then.
Yeah,
360. Yeah.
360.
Right. So you're getting the base model Switch, the original model Switch with Mario Kart for free for $300, right?
And that's what last year it was the exact same.
Isn't that technically a deal?
It is.
I don't find it. I'll put it this way: I don't find it as deceptive as Juice does.
Yeah,
personally, I understand that maybe they could have put a sticker on it, but it'd be a different story if there was like no documentation whatsoever that didn't tell consumers who, at this point, I feel like if you're someone in America, you're used to this fine print nonsense anyway.
And also, like, it's just one of those.
Not the average consumer.
It's one of those.
That's the fault of the consumer.
It's not even like it's a different mod. It's not like they even said like, oh, we're having a new battery. Like they just secretly did that. Remember? So it's not even like.
Yeah, it wasn't like they made a big deal out of it at the beginning.
Yeah, it's not like.
So I'm gonna be completely honest when it comes to this shit. When people say, "Oh, the Switch is like the same price as last year Black Friday," and I was like, "Well, I mean, it sells, I guess." And then there was the fine print. Oh, but it's like this and this model. I legit 100% like that shit is so insignificant to me. That fucking battery thing. I completely forgot that Switch even existed already.
Yeah, I mean, again,
and that's kind of what it boils down to.
Well, that's cool, but some people have kids who game off TV all the time, and that would be something that we might change their mind about. But why wouldn't you just? Why that model has this?
Would it make more sense?
Battery life.
I mean, to some people,
Black Friday,
as a person with children,
Black Friday.
Yeah, but like, you're as the parent who's buying the game system. Yeah, it's the parents' job to make sure that you're getting the right product for your kids.
Well, if you didn't know there was a better product to begin with, because like we've said, they haven't really pointed that out to begin with. It's not on the new Switches. That doesn't say such and such battery life, over the other one. It doesn't say that. You got to do research, and they know that.
Yeah, but you have to do research on anything you buy, though. That's what you do when buying products in general. You do research.
They don't know what they're doing because they know what they're doing.
I think the everyday trampling Black Friday person doesn't give two shits, and they'll just buy the $300 model. They'll buy I think they'll buy the $300 model.
I'm just saying the point I'm making is that as a consumer, the rule is always to look up and make sure you're buying the right product.
No, I don't know about that, but I just think that $300, regardless of they're gonna see it. Should we buy an extra 60 to get the
Well, it ain't 60 because
they're gonna want the Mario Kart.
Because Mario Kart's $40.
Mario Kart, and so like I just feel that like for them, they're going to be like, you know what? It includes Mario Kart.
Yeah, the average consumer won't give a shit about that.
That regardless is going to be better because it includes Mario Kart. I don't have to spend an extra $60.
Well, Mario Kart's $40 for that because of it's part of that.
So an extra $40. In the end of the day, you're still the
person
is not going to care about the $4. They're going to just see the $40.
What if you're somebody that's mainly going to play in portable mode and I mean you're missing?
Yeah, I know.
You could have the option for double the battery life.
I'm saying
most people aren't even thinking about that. I guarantee you, dude. I guarantee most people.
In my mind, that's Nintendo taking advantage of the not knowing consumers.
For doing things that benefits them more than it benefits the consumer, then we had a problem.
That's not defending the company. That's just
defending them for their practice that helps. It don't help you.
That's not defending the company in that situation.
I'm just saying that he saved $40. I think that's a good deal.
What kind of logic is that?
Well, I don't have the choice of say 40.
You have the choice.
What if I have a better battery life? Like,
you buy the
that would
other
be something
model.
that's important to me. To know these things.
well, then you
I shouldn't
buy
have to
the other
dig-
model.
I shouldn't have to dig for that.
You, dude.
I'm not the only person. Don't act like this just me.
I'm not like
Yeah.
it's just you.
This information.
But I'm saying you're over exaggerating the
So I
situation.
think the biggest argument with this then from let's just say from Juice and T side, because I'm
This
not
is
quite
corny.
sure what I'm side I'm on yet. I'm probably more on their side, but is it more? It's more the advertising. Is it how this is being shown? If this
No,
was
to
shown
me,
a bit more blatant, a bit more clear, then you'd be happy with it.
To me,
I just said put a
it's-
sticker on the fucking box. Cases are closed. That's it.
That-
but they're not going to do that because to me it feels deceptive.
Well,
It's
because
like,
they're making
we
it
don't
out like it's like oh, this is our Black Friday special offer. It's what they did last year, which to me already just tells me they're being lazy about this, or they're putting no effort into it.
Was last year also 300? Was it?
It was
360?
300 last year with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe digital copy.
But it's
And
okay,
it
so
was
the Switch has dropped in price, and has Mario Kart dropped in price? Or?
no.
it's still 60.
So
normally.
if this was the new Switch model, I'd still be like, it's kind of, they're not really putting much effort into it. The fact that they're using this as a way to get rid of the old stock, I bet you they had this plan from the second they decided to make the revision. And I have a feeling from listening to tech people, the revision was mainly for the hacking, because people were hacking the old one.
Well, like they usually do.
And the process of making the Tegra, the size, the whatever die size it is an obsolete size. So Nintendo would actually have to pay more money to keep making the same one. They had, so that makes no sense. So you might as well have pay less and have this new die size. And one of the benefits was it's twice as efficient, and you get the longer battery life. So for me, the fact that this is just clearing out inventory and to have it be the exact price as last year's and the same old ass game, which just to me is laughable at this point. I know it's the most popular game, but still, the game's 5.5 years old.
But it's a game everyone still wants to play.
And
it's like Grand Theft Auto, yo. But you get people are still gonna pay $60.
yeah, but Grand Theft Auto is $20 now. Like I'm not saying a permanent price drop.
Right.
I'm not saying
Grand Theft
Nintendo
Auto is
games need to
$60
drop
anymore.
price. I'm not saying the Switch needs to be cheaper. But if you're gonna clear out your old stock on your obsolete model, like to me, you're selling at the same price you sold it last year. To me, just reads of greed, and I don't like.
Let people know. I'm with you, Juice. I'm not saying our perspective doesn't affect anything, but not changing that perspective. I mean, okay, so I'm saying put a sticker on the box saying, "Hey, this is the older model. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm sure they have the numbers.
HAC 001, I think it is.
Right. So let people know, or at least put on the other box, improved battery life on a sticker. You don't have to change the price or any of that stuff. Just let the consumer know, and you can have a choice.
All I'm saying
now, here's the thing: letting the consumer know does not affect your guys' point of view at all.
No.
They can still sell it and save. They can put garbage ass Mario Kart 8 in there and save all the money they want to make, and it still doesn't affect your perspective. But not doing that does affect my perspective on it, which a lot of people, whether you guys understand it or not, are not that in tune. They're not going to pay that much attention. Apparently, he just wants to switch. I don't know anything about the Switch. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Because we know as consumers, you always double check shit before you buy it. That's just
You can say that all you want. The average consumer doesn't know that there's 3 and 4 and 5 different models of something. No, it's not.
It'd be a difference if Nintendo was blatantly hiding the information.
If the company was putting out, they didn't. If the company is putting out,
if it's in the ad, if the asterisk is in the ad that tells you that it's not.
That's not blatant though. It's not blatantly in the ad.
It is blatant if it's in the ad. Yeah.
It's very hidden in the ad. If it's probably less than 1 second on screen. You have to pause the video. I actually had to take a screenshot so I could read it.
Well, that's the video. I mean, the actual ad itself.
So yeah, if there's an ad, yeah, you're true. That's right. If there's an ad, but to me, like with anything else, if you're gonna do something and try to sell it as a special deal, and even make a YouTube video about it, that tells me you're trying to sell it as a great deal or as something special. Why would you make a 30-second ad for it if you're just like, to me, like that makes me think they're just that out of touch that they think that that's like some amazing deal. Like
I know
No.
to us it's not an amazing deal, and I don't even think Nintendo care that
It is
much.
an amazing deal. It's an amazing deal for Nintendo.
But it's
I don't think they're looking at it as an amazing deal.
no, I think that's how they're trying to sell it. Look at the special offer. Why would they make a 30-second ad?
Because you still want to get rid of the stock.
You're still selling a Nintendo Switch for $300 with a free game.
Yeah, it's not an amazing deal, but it is a deal.
Yeah,
And then it's the hottest game on Switch, dude.
It doesn't make
it is the hottest game on Switch.
Yeah, why would you not make an ad for
the Switch itself is still for many people worth $300. Now I can understand. I completely understand the argument about the fact that there's a newer Switch model out. I mean, I tried to think back to when we had like the family edition of the Wii, where the Nintendo advertised that it was stripped of GameCube features and stuff like that.
it was $100. So I mean, it's a completely separate. I mean,
no, I'm just thinking about advertising.
Yeah, I don't know how they advertise.
Also, the stripped down version of the Wii came out so fucking late. The actual normal Wii was the better option anyway.
Yeah, and it was $99. There was a clear.
It wasn't actually
difference.
The stripped down Wii was not a deal because of how late it came out. But the point I'm just making is that I'm not surprised they put out a 30-second ad because they're still trying to promote their hot console with its best-selling Nintendo IP game. And it
just happens to be the one they're probably making the most money off of.
Technically, it's and like even if because I can agree with Clocked and shit, I think it's still a good deal. But technically, if you look at it from Juice's and T's perspective, technically for a normal other person who wants to buy a Switch, and they would know, okay, you can buy this Switch here. It has like a couple of hours more in battery life, then you pay $360, so that's America. Or you can just take this Switch, which is the exact same. Battery just lasts a little bit less longer. Then you get like for $300 the game. Like it is a good deal technically.
Oh, you're saying like you buy the normal Switch?
I love how you just say just a couple little extra battery. Like I mean, I don't care about battery life, but it's literally.
I don't think
double.
Anybody's really arguing the good deal. I don't think.
I don't think it's a good deal.
Who's arguing?
Another thing as well. Sorry, T. Just another thing as well is when we're talking from a general public point of view. Do they even know or care about the longer battery Switch? I mean, we've got the Switch now of 40 million sales. 40 million people have pretty much bought the original Switch and have been completely, for the most part, content with it. Same with the portable battery life and stuff. So when people come to these black, to this deal now, are they going to be? And then let's just say they find out that the other Switch was out there, and they're like, "Oh, we could have got that for 360."
You're getting an echo now.
Sorry, I get an echo now.
That's on retro.
Yeah, it's coming through retro.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Mute your mic and it goes away. Guarantee it. Testing. It's gone.
It's gone.
Okay.
No, it's back. Retro, I can see it. I can see it right on your eye camera.
Retro, it's you.
There you go. It's gone. Well, here's the other thing.
You are the weakest.
We haven't even mentioned yet. It hasn't even come up.
All
right.
What?
And I know someone was gonna. I figured someone was gonna say, "Well, Nintendo doesn't have to. Like the thing's selling. Like I said, you don't have to. Then don't put on. I won't say. I don't know I had a word and now I lost it. But you're putting it on like you are doing something, and to me, you really aren't. I mean, Mario Kart 8 at this point,
special,
giving that away for free, is like so insignificant to Nintendo's bottom line. Like it's nothing to them. That game has been paid for 100 times over.
Yeah, I know. What does that matter to?
But what does that matter?
What that matter to Nintendo though?
So what I'm saying is from Nintendo.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, as a consumer, it's like fuck it. It's a free game.
Yeah, it's like dude, we're gonna
put it in
listen,
a better battery life switch. Then it's not a big deal.
I'm just saying to them, it's not even like, oh my god, we got to decide which game we're gonna put in. Let's maybe put in.
Let's put in the highest selling game on our console.
So to them, this is a win-win because
That's fine. They want to make
what's
money.
the problem?
And what I'm
Put in the
saying
second
is,
highest paying. If not a big deal.
I don't
Put in
get
the
it.
second highest
I
selling
don't
game.
get it. Yeah.
I understand. I understand where you boys are coming from.
it's what it is.
Put in
It's
Smash Brothers.
lazy
You don't
and
think
it's
Smash Brothers be a good?
Yeah. What about Smash? What
Put that
about
in.
Mario Maker? What about some
And
other
they-
games?
Because they would make. Look, we know.
Okay. Because they would make. Thank you. That's what I was getting to.
What does it matter?
Why be? They're making
There's
so
nothing
much
special what
money.
they're doing. That's the point.
They're making so
No
much
one's
money
saying it was special.
No,
It's just
dude, Black Friday in itself isn't special.
for one
it's
day.
not special.
It's supposed to be.
For what I'm
That's the
saying
point
is for
of Black
one
Friday.
day.
It's the worst of Americans.
Yeah, really, it is.
Well, we're not
That's
here-
literally
we're not
what
here
it
to
is.
judge
Even on Black
consumerism.
Friday over
We're
here
talking
in the
about what
UK.
Black Friday is about.
If
we're not
Amazon
here
do
to judge
Black Friday,
consumerism.
so if Amazon do Black Friday over here, most of the discounts, I tell you, most of the discounts are what are pretty much the recommended retail price anyway, because there's always been so much inflation and stuff that when it actually does come down to the price, you're like, holy shit, that's a good deal. And you go back a few weeks, you're like, wait, that's how much it was a few weeks back. Everyone messes around with prices. Not everything is a deal in Black Fridays. It's just Black Fridays have become, for many of these companies, just a shift old ass stock.
Yeah.
Some stuff gets discounted way below than what it normally is. Other stuff just gets offered with a little bit extra or a tiny bit off.
That's
It's
not
just
a tiny bit off.
Most of
I
these
mean,
we're talking video games here. Most of these game companies put out some nice deals. Sony and Microsoft have some nice deals for their consoles. And it's not.
Hey, look, but no one's arguing that Sony and Microsoft's deals aren't better. We know they're better. I saw Spider-Man God of War for like $10 and Uncharted 4, like they're all $10 on Black Friday.
And to be fair, those kinds of games from Sony and those kinds of games, they go down in price extremely fast already.
Yeah,
but
the point I'm making is that's irrelevant.
That's not the. That's
irrelevant.
also irrelevant though.
Because the point has nothing to do with the fact that Sony and Microsoft have better deals. The point is for people who are interested in a Switch, getting a console with a $60 game, even though it's an easy thing for Nintendo to do, no one cares, because if they want a Switch and they want Mario Kart, it's a better option than buying a Switch and Mario Kart separately.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
As of the question as to why Mario Kart, like you said earlier,
it's easy.
Because it's the biggest selling game. People still buy Switches specifically for Mario Kart. It's like the #1 most sold game on Switch, like for a reason.
I didn't realize that.
Well, maybe that's why the sales are so high.
Yeah, but I think Juice, I feel like your issue is more so the fact that it's not really that it's such it's. Yeah, but they don't
I feel
need
it's
to
just
be.
like it's a half effort
whatsoever.
And then, like I was gonna say, to the whole, well, they don't have to do it. They're the #1 thing. Well, 3 years ago, the PlayStation 4, there was no competition, just destroying it, and they put out the brand new Slim that was out that year, and Uncharted 4, which came out the same year, and put it for $200, and it's like.
But that's acceptable for Sony, Juice.
I know.
Nintendo, that's
and
not
acceptable. Just to me, it just feels like
console.
What?
It feels like, oh, here's, Nintendo just. I think they're just getting, I want to say, greedy, a little too greedy with just some of the things I'm seeing them have.
We're just the grandpas on the panel.
Just seeing what they're doing.
About Nintendo.
And it's like
a lazy Black Friday deal. That's why it's greedy.
No, I think we can point to many things throughout Switch's life.
I'm not saying, but all I'm saying is that like this is
the
not
pattern.
It,
there's a pattern going on.
It's not itchy, yo.
I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me.
And when you
that's fine. You're perfectly fine in having the opinion it doesn't sit right with you. I'm just saying I don't find it to be that big of a deal.
It kind of feels like patronizing in a way to me. I don't know. That's just how I feel. That's why I asked you guys.
I can understand that perspective because of how much you're in tune with like the consoles and like the pricing and the industry and shit. That would make sense for you to be annoyed at the fact that this is all you're doing. This is the only offer you have.
Yeah, and I'm not even a consumer for Black Friday. I already have a Switch, so I'm not even.
I understand from that aspect. Okay, fine, I get it. I can understand that. I'm just saying, for me, it's not anything surprising when you're on top and you don't have to do anything. I'm not surprised that your console that's selling gangbusters and has been the best-selling console at least in the U.S.
Well, in the U.S. and worldwide, the PS4 is still right behind it. Like it's pretty.
But I'm saying
close.
it's been selling so well, and your best-selling game has to happen to be the game that they didn't have to do that much development work on. Making the same bundle twice doesn't really shock me.
Well, what if? I mean, I wonder what the actual numbers
would
would
this be a thing if Iwata was alive? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
would this
God.
be a thing if he was still the president?
I don't think so.
I mean, I
There's no way to prove that.
That's insanity.
I'm asking a question.
What were the Wii U best?
That's what we're doing here, right? We're asking questions.
I don't remember the Wii U best.
The Wii U didn't have good deals.
Well,
yeah, they didn't really have anything crazy.
The
Wii U didn't have good deals because it wasn't selling for shit.
and the Wii U got more.
That's why
That makes less sense. That's why we need.
Except for the fact that the Wii U actually cost more to develop 2 years later than when it launched because of what they chose.
Let's play dumb on this. Like, we know what's the deal here. Come on.
They couldn't sell the Wii U any cheaper. They were already losing money by
they
the
were
end
already
because
in the
of
hole. They were in the hole with the Wii U, and then the 3DS started off so slow. So
see that
Yeah,
you
but
can't.
they
well,
had
listen,
a deal for the 3DS.
you can't be
They
greedy.
had deals for the 3DS though.
If your system's not selling, like, and you like Microsoft, and you have to do stuff like. You can only be greedy when you are being successful, when you are making money. You can't be greedy when you're not making money. You can only be greedy when you're actually making money. And just to me, like, just as somebody looking at it, like as a fan of the company, as a fan of Nintendo for all these years, I just thought it was laughable that they just did the same exact bundle, and who knows what Mario Kart 8's numbers would be if they didn't keep throwing it in to the Black Friday deals. I mean, it'd be at least a couple million less, I would think. But
I didn't just start when YouTube started. I didn't become a Nintendo fan then. I was already seeing the benefits and how they treated consumers and the price, all the, the players' choice games, all that stuff. They had been doing that for forever. So I'm not just coming to this generation and saying, "Oh my God, look at these prices." Like, I know better. I've been around a little bit.
Well, I mean, those player choice, they don't come until way later anyway. Those player.
Yeah, that was. See, now you're focusing on little.
But and even still, though,
I don't know.
Bring it up.
Yeah, you brought it up.
I think the
so
player.
What's the point of me bringing up Nintendo's past dealings with their consumers? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, because you brought up something that will come eventually on the Switch anyway. We know player choice will come on the Switch. I mean,
we'll get.
Do you?
I'm saying we got.
I think in year 5.
Yeah, just like the Wii U. The Wii U did it.
Yeah, the Wii U waited so
and the
long.
Wii and you know what I mean? Like they always did like later on.
The GameCube.
Same with PlayStation.
No.
They all do it later on. They just started the PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm not saying they should. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some of the launch titles are almost ready for that, because there's some games that got like ARMS that just completely forgotten. They're still trying to get $60 for it.
I mean, I think we're getting lost now.
Well, now we're just.
We are.
Yeah, we're just
with Mario Kart 8, for example. When did it come out? 2014, wasn't it? Right, but we got the deluxe version. Yeah, 2017. Right, it's
2.5 years.
3 years old. Is on 20 million sales. It's still selling. It's the highest selling Switch game. Nearly 50% of the attachment rate. 50% of the people got this game on their Switch.
Right.
So when is this game going to be ready to go in on PlayStation?
Yeah, that one I don't know. They've never had anything
Nintendo
quite
like
this.
That's just fine by me.
When did Mario Kart Wii? I don't think Mario Kart Wii ever went to.
No, never went on it.
Nintendo.
That's what you do when the games kind of have the sales have dropped off. That's when you put it on.
That's when you put the.
That's why I don't. That's why I don't understand. This is like we're just kind of, this is organic at this point. That's why I think some of the launch year games like ARMS and Fire Emblem Warriors should be.
I agree about ARMS.
Should be to that point, and they still won't. They're not doing anything at this point.
Well, because, I still think it's going to be another like 2 years, to be honest, when they do that.
Yeah, 1-2 Switch is still $50. And here's the thing: you said about, well, they don't have to. Well, they didn't have to sell Wii U ports for $60, but they did. Like, there's a lot of,
and you don't support the ones that you.
There's a lot of things they didn't have to do that they're doing that isn't exactly, in my opinion, like consumer friendly stuff.
Well, that's exactly so.
I mean, they didn't have to launch the online so basic, but you know, they're just doing.
So really, the whole Black Friday thing just kind of goes. The whole goal of that Black Friday conversation was just to go into the narrative that Nintendo's being greedy? Is that the
Well,
core
it
of
wasn't
the
the
issue?
main point. I just thought when I first saw it, my first thing I did was laugh. When I saw the ad, I laughed out loud. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like seriously, still doing the same thing you did last year?" They're just not putting in much effort in that front for a day that for me, I'm not a consumer for. I just thought it was might as well not even do it at that point. To me, that's
Well, that
how
makes
I
sense.
felt.
But even
About
if
it.
Why would you not do it? Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't do it.
Still sell in the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not. It'd be a different
Because
story.
why don't they just not bundle it in? And since they don't have to, why do they even do that? Like,
Well, because
the game's
give-
still gonna sell. They're
in the end of the day, like it is an incentive. In the end of the day, like
Yeah.
And they are trying to clear out.
and
stock.
like I said, if it was
like you
the
said,
new
they were clearing
Switch,
out stock.
if they weren't kind of doing it as just
There's
kind
less
of
devious
a
ways.
little
to clear out
bit,
stuff.
It was you had like
A
it's
little
so
bit
devious, like they're sitting there with horns in the top of their head.
it's just
and
a
shit.
little bit
Like what?
Yeah,
deceptive.
Let's sell this
It's just
Switch.
a little bit
This is
deceptive.
something weird.
you
Like you
guys
think
want
this?
Mario Kart
You don't have to
World
be the
Cup?
devil to be devious. So let them
I'm just saying, but you acting like this is some like,
horns on their head. That's.
I'm just saying, you
you're
acting
getting a
like
little too
this is
extreme over there, Terrell.
You're
A
being
little too
extreme because oh, it's so devious.
All right, we're moving on.
like they like they lied to you in the ad or some shit. That's insane.
Anytime
yo.
somebody uses fine
It is
print,
insane.
Anytime-
is insane. You got that.
I do feel like this is turned into all of us versus tea and juice.
Hey,
It's
I'm
really
just
not.
saying. I'm just
I
saying.
can
It
roll with
seems
that.
I'm just saying the
I'm in my comfort
issue.
zone on
I
that.
can understand. I'm saying T making it sound like it's more devious than what it actually is.
I completely get it from our point of view. It's not a compelling deal. We feel that they could do more, and in a bit more in case in terms of what the deal is. Be a bit more.
Well, see
clear.
that I can agree with. I can
No,
understand that.
We
that
just
it's
said
only-
it's on the consumer to know that Nintendo put out multiple SKUs of their or multiple.
I'm saying if you're
versions
about
of
to
the
go
console
buy
and one
if you're about
has
to go
better
buy a
battery.
product,
well, you got to think
That's-
of these are you're talking parents
No,
are
yeah,
going to be a
no,
big
man.
chunk of this too.
you should still be aware what you're buying.
Yeah,
Should
no,
be
I
and
just-
are
I just-
completely
I just
different.
see
You're
that-
an adult. The fuck?
That's where I
with
disagree because
with career, with
because
family, with
parents-
children,
parents-
with the job that you got to do. You ain't got time to be. What
Parents-
model is
parents
this?
are
First? Give me-
stupid.
Come on.
Parents are
Come
stupid. Do you remember when the Xbox 360 was out? How many models of the Xbox 360 were on the market at
It
one
was like
point in
4
time?
at one
Yeah,
point.
like you knew all the models. Come on, bro. Come on.
Yeah, parents would come into the shop. They'd be like, "Can I have an Xbox 360, please?" I'd be like, "Yeah, which one would you like? We got the slim, we got the base,
But at least a lot of those have different.
we got a slim one. Which one do you want? Oh, what do they all
Give me
do?"
the cheapest one. That's what
They had different hardware,
Okay.
Yeah,
hard
but
drive
that's, the thing,
sizes.
that's
at
still
least.
like not. That's still. We've already been trained
Yeah.
that most companies cannot be trusted with this kind of shit, right? That's the
Yeah, but
general thought process that always comes out.
Nintendo's
so why
never
would you
been on
not?
that list really for me though. They've hardly ever been on that list of.
All
Man,
I'm
I
saying is,
can't
all I'm
trust what
saying
they're
is,
doing.
all I'm saying is to try to like excuse the adults who have the money and the credit cards, the ability to go on the Google. It's nowadays it's easy as fuck.
Well, if somebody
to
didn't
figure-
report it
learn
though,
stuff.
I mean, I
Especially
wouldn't
if
even
you're waiting
know.
on that if you're one of those people waiting on that Black Friday line, you're waiting for a while, and you could just like look a
Well, I
real
think you can
quick
buy it
thing.
now. I think you could buy that deal right now. I don't think.
I don't
have
know
to
if you
wait.
can buy
What?
it now.
You can buy that.
It
deal
says while
now.
supplies last. I don't know if it's only.
Man,
a
let's
Black-
move on.
But anyway, it's,
Yeah, because I'm about to say
it just.
Don't get annoyed.
I'm just saying. It's,
I
I'm over this conversation.
completely understand and in part agree on where everyone is going. I think the difference as well is that with this Switch model is that it is a subtle difference, right? Because the only difference is the battery length, right?
yeah, it's literally just a battery.
Okay, so it is a much more subtle difference compared to like other types of hardware that we get. I remember when I was working in another game shop, so I'm always bringing up the game shops. There was on the original Xbox, there were two factory models that came in. And when the Xbox first released, it had a different type of DVD player with inside there.
That
That
must have
was
been
actually
only in
better
your
quality.
region.
And then later on, they released, without really telling anyone, another model that had a slightly inferior DVD drive in there. And I remember, me and my friends, trying to decide which one we want to get because we were trying to get the original one. But consumers would come in, and they wouldn't have a Scooby Doo that in some respect that they were getting an original Xbox with a slightly inferior DVD drive. Now I know that's small and petty, and there's a bit more substantialness in terms of the battery life with the Switch. But still, companies. I'm not defending them because they are fucking assholes when they could do stuff like this. But there's sometimes in part there's no real way for people to know this difference. But at least in some part, it is shown in some capacity, and then you can argue. Should they be reading a smaller text? Should they just walk into the shop and say, "I want to switch," and then walk out? People do it. Some people don't. These are consumers, and some consumers are not going to give a shit. Others will. Some consumers will buy it, then give a shit. Some consumers will buy it and not give a shit. So, I understand. I don't want to, us to, turn into a battle or anything. I understand it, and it is not that great, but it's not as
free
drastic.
market, man. Let the companies regulate themselves. Free market.
What the hell? Oh, Jesus.
I want to know how many burgers Burger King would sell or McDonald's would sell had they been forced to put nutritional facts on them. I wonder. But that's on
It was still a ton.
They're still selling.
That's on you to find how many calories is in that burger, son. That's not.
That's not the same thing.
How long your burger
over here,
in the steamer for?
That's an exaggeration.
I don't know how it is in the UK or clock is. Over here, McDonald's shit are obligated to do that shit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's better.
Well, I know one thing.
And not only that, smoking companies over here are no longer allowed to advertise on boards outside, on TV, on the radio. They're not allowed to have their names on the cigarette packs anymore. When you buy a cigarette pack over, you go into a store. I don't smoke anymore, but you go into a store. There's like 100 different brands of cigarettes and whatever. And for you guys, that must look like a piece of art. Over here, it's all black. Every single pack has cancer on it and death and blood and rotting teeth. It is disgusting. Everything is completely unanimous. You have to ask something and know what you're getting, and it's still selling. It still sells. The burgers still sell. Cigarettes still sell. So it doesn't change anything.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's better to inform your consumers.
But the one thing makes you obese.
Well, let me just end this discussion.
I'm just saying,
you
can't compare the food situation.
I'm gonna end it
to companies selling products. That's not the same thing.
I'm gonna end it right here.
That's a poor comparison.
Here, I got it. I got the perfect ending. They had to choose something like Mario Kart 8 because if they would have included the digital version of The Witcher 3, then it wouldn't even fit on the damn Switch internal memory anyway. So they had to put Mario Kart.
You gotta choose a game that has this 2 gigs in size.
Anyway, I think I'm gonna do a juice opinions on. I'm gonna elaborate on some more thoughts I have on this whole situation. But yeah. So let's check the Discord for the questions.
We're gonna do the trivia thing.
We got a
from
poll,
Twitter?
a trivia poll.
First question is the Black Friday deal a good deal?
The Twitter, I had trouble thinking of one, so it's not the most exciting trivia question, but I did think it was interesting seeing how many number 2 sequels came out in like a 3-year span, like 2008, 2009, 2010. It was just like at least 3 or 4 major games that had a 2 in the title. So the question was, which of these 2 sequels did not release in 2009 in the US? We had Uncharted 2, Assassin's Creed 2, BioShock 2, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Now, there's only 25 votes on this one because I forgot to promote it and stuff like I usually do. It was like 25% across the board. I kind of feel like some people might have looked it up because there was a unanimous. The one that was the unanimous votes was correct. But Robert, you said you thought you knew it because it's pretty recent.
Yeah, it's more every other poll question is like these things were like a really old question where like, damn, I don't think I know that at all anymore, or anymore. I never did. But this one, I definitely remember Modern Warfare 2 came out, and I forgot the first choice already though.
Uncharted 2.
Uncharted 2. I remember Uncharted 2. Like those, and the only 2 that I got a little bit, I'm not too sure, was Assassin's Creed 2 and BioShock 2, but I'm pretty sure it's BioShock 2 that came out in like 2010. It's yeah.
All right. Anybody else? What did you guys guess?
Sorry, quick question. So, how many people voted? You got
Just
that?
25 on this one. It was one of the
Okay,
lowest.
so we got 36 people watching. So I kind of get the impression that most people who voted are probably watching as well. So we just want to iterate again that when we do these polls, it's literally just for fun. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. We get it right, we get it right.
Mhm.
It's, we don't.
But you've got them all right. Let me guess.
They'll go cheating.
Don't
setting
check.
us up.
Don't check.
Ain't no
Obviously,
point in that.
yeah, it really doesn't matter. It's just for fun. So for whatever answer we come up with, it really doesn't matter. So just make it more fun.
It sounds like somebody is gonna be wrong. Oh.
So what did you guess?
Oh damn!
Well, what were the 4 game choices again? It was Uncharted.
Assassin's Creed, Modern Warfare 2, BioShock 2.
Yeah. So
an easier way out of this one.
Well, I didn't know that the US. I didn't know the US releases. So if one got, I got the impression that it got, because you said it was US only releasing US late.
Yeah, Juice. These Twitter polls
I
are culturally
guess it got
biased.
delayed. So I just went with the smaller game, which I thought was BioShock 2, because I couldn't imagine Uncharted 2 getting delayed. I couldn't imagine Modern Warfare worldwide getting delayed. And what was
Well,
the
I
other
only put the U.S. because I didn't look to see if there was any kind of split release date.
That's
for-
culturally biased. Your Twitter polls are culturally biased.
So just for future reference, I put U.S. so somebody doesn't go, well, so and so released it in Japan this date.
Right, okay.
That's
why I was going off. So I just, I'm probably wrong then. I went with BioShock 2. I just thought if any game's going to be delayed,
so you
for
were
some
thinking,
reason,
well,
in some part
way
of the
too
world
hard
because
into it.
because of whatever, then it's most likely that company over the other ones that were listed. So whatever.
So I
You
had
got
absolutely no.
I was just going to tell him he had completely false logic to get him to the right answer. So
BioShock 2 was the right answer?
yeah.
That's the one I picked.
Yeah, completely incorrect logic. It was just out of the choices, I thought it would be most people wouldn't know what year that came out. So
I thought it was delayed.
I remember BioShock 2.
yeah, I have it.
But I wasn't. I said it. Well,
I got an hour.
I say I
into
remember,
it.
but I wasn't 100% sure.
You guys watching the stream? You seen this Death Stranding clip that's been on repeat on the stream?
Boy, I didn't look.
It's just when he clips through the ground and stuff.
Is he just walking?
No,
oh
it's
yeah,
funny.
man, I saw that.
In
earlier.
the waterfall, he falls in the water, like he clips through the rock,
funny.
and then he's like,
Oh yeah.
it's just hilarious looking. And he goes through the rocks.
What the hell?
I mean, every game has glitches, but this one's just particularly funny because you just end up being fucked going down a waterfall and you're dead.
It's just all his packages.
It's just like a weird ass glitch, yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny glitch, and then it goes the first person as you fall to your death. I think that's really cool. How it switches to first person as you fall.
It's like a movie.
Oh, that's the other thing I want to talk about before we get to the questions. Is Kojima blaming the genres that U.S. likes of first-person shooters and stuff for why reviews weren't so good in the U.S. Whereas, what did he say? They were rave reviews in Europe and Japan. I think that was,
which is not even true.
It's not true.
That also doesn't make sense because I feel like Europe is the worst when it comes to that stuff.
But Europe does love Sony to no end.
I can point out a couple of publications in Europe, like Edge.
Doesn't like Metal Gear sell well in the US?
Didn't care for the game, so
yeah, it did. Metal Gear sold
does he class that as a shooter? Isn't it shooting in Death Stranding?
It's
I'm sure it's got gameplay stuff.
Stealth action
with guns and
adventure.
And
I don't know.
You know what? I see there's people that say they're enjoying the game. I didn't think I was going to enjoy God of War after I bashed it before it came out, and I ended up it was like my number 3 game of the year. So I mean, people can be.
Game.
I could believe that someone's playing it says, you know what, this is actually way better than people were saying, or I'm having more fun. So I don't have at this point. If you play it and you like it, that's fine. That's your opinion, and I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I haven't bashed the game once. I bashed Kojima,
but to like, what was the other time someone tried to blame the gamers for something? Was it? I can't think. I know there was a few others. The Hat in Time guy, I remember, said something pretty insulting to gamers, asking him about if it's coming to Switch. and he kind of lashed out.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
it
Are you
was
talking about the Titanfall guy?
The Titanfall guy laughed at the Switch thing, but it wasn't the one I was thinking of.
But
Or
that
if
was
you
not-
if you didn't like the Star Wars: The Last Jedi, you're a misogynist.
But
That was
the
Let's
head
not
and
bring
time
up that
thing-
movie.
The head and time thing was extra bullshit because it was basically N64 people who funded the game. So when people, when's it coming to Nintendo platform? He basically said, "Shut the fuck up! I'll put it where I want." So like,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It was exactly like that.
I don't think it was literally that though.
So yeah,
I
Kojima's
didn't use literally.
I'm just
Kojima's a
I'm
pompous
just trying to clarify, Retro.
Kojima's a pompous ass, and this game is exposing that. And he's a pompous ass, and it's you guys' fault for buying shit and smelling his farts. It's your fault for smelling his farts and telling them delicious. So
I mean, to be fair, if you enjoyed the game, it's not really.
And it's one of those things too when you got so much before the game came out. You got so much shit, people talking. Then you got the people probably going out of their way to try to make it sound better, just to try to counteract. And it's probably somewhere closer in the middle. That's just how I always look at stuff like this.
it happens all the time.
I mean, honestly,
that's just a really sad position to take. That when somebody criticizes your stuff, it's just because they don't get it. They're not artistic enough to understand this acquired taste. How pompous can you be? Like that's
the U.S. they only buy shooters. Well, look at the sales of Nintendo games in the U.S. versus other markets. Like,
right.
are you serious?
Shout out to OJ, Player Essence. He had a really good video on it explaining that's bullshit. That perspective that he has, saying North American fans or Nintendo fans, or not Nintendo fans, but
Gamers.
fans in North America don't care about these types of games. And he was pointing out how all the RPGs like what was it, Octopath Traveler and
Xenoblade, probably.
Fire Emblem Three Houses got an 89. Like, so you try to blanket statement this thing, and you can't do that because there's many.
He can kind of get away with it in the sense that because there's no other game that's been like this that exists. Even though I think,
but
I would say but I could say the closest game I can think of that's kind of like this in a lesser way visually is probably something like Journey that came out like on the PS3, which is still like a game that's pretty much just a walking.
There's a lot of games that are like this. They just have better gameplay.
Yeah, Visor Grunt brings up a good point. The Astral Chain minigame, that basically it's broken in my opinion, where you have to carry loads of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's the ice cream, but then there's one where you stack boxes.
Yeah, that was
and
hard.
Shit doesn't work. It barely works. Like the gyro, it's just not. It's so hard. I mean, I eventually did it, but man.
But what if your game is entirely based around that premise? Like that's what you're dealing with here.
But and then you had B Wild said that he took it back to Best Buy. He says been waiting for the game since the second trailer. He wanted to like it, but it sucks. So I mean, not everybody's gonna like it. Not everybody's gonna hate it. Like I said,
it's a very niche title. It's a niche title, and for some reason, I feel like Kojima is shocked by the fact that a niche title got mixed reviews. That's what happens with a lot of niche games.
I mean, I seen a guy.
People have been blowing smoke up your ass for your entire career. You will be shocked by it when somebody says,
because he's always had high 90s Metacritics for his games.
I'm not surprised that he's shocked.
So I did see some guy said he spent 6 hours building highways because it just makes delivering stuff so much easier, and he was riding around on a motorcycle, and it was visually stunning. It reminded me of it's not the same style as like Tron Legacy, but some of that it just looks really cool. But then you see where he has to like just make a corner, and it's just this awkward little stop, and kind of like the bike kind of twist one direction or the other, which way you're turning. Like it's more of an automated thing where you have a little bit of control. But I'm like, hey, this guy said he really enjoyed it, and he felt it was rewarding to have spent that time. So now he can travel easier to get the shit done and get further in the game. And I was like, all right, that's fine.
There are going to be people who that like that kind of stuff. They like crazy micromanaging and stuff like that, and find that rewarding. But that is, like you guys said, it's a niche thing. It's not going to be, and to see these reviewers know that they don't like this game like that, but to try to like, you know, say all these things that aren't good about the game to them, and then still give it a high score.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
what
like,
we were
they're
really
trying to have
ripping
it.
was the people who
Right.
were reviewed it. The words were saying one thing, and then the score was like completely different. And just like with God of War, we were talking about how the reviewers, no one was mentioning the combat or the gameplay. It was just constantly talking about the one camera and all. And we were like, maybe we were kind of ripping on the game a little bit, but we were just like, all these reviewers. The fact that no one's mentioning the gameplay tells me that they're caught up in the hype of the cinematic, the one camera thing. Like that's what we really went on about. And same with Death Stranding. We're talking, the reviewers were saying one thing and then giving a score at the end that just didn't fucking match with what they said. And it's just like, that's what we were really pointing out. But honestly, I mean, not to like start anything else, but just to be 100% honest with you, I'd rather go out and pay $60 for a new game that's trying something different. Maybe it's a little bit boring. I don't know if I'd like it or not. I'd rather do that than go out and spend $60 on a last gen port that's still $60. That's just my
full circle.
That's just my opinion. So with that,
The thing that
if I don't find the game visually, if I don't find the game interesting, I don't care.
This is what I was gonna say, because the more I hear about Death Stranding, the less, and that's from the first trailer, I was extremely interested. I like the super surreal, dark, crazy shit. And the more I see and the more I hear, the less I want to play it. And the last thing I read was a tweet from, I think it was Rob of Rule of Two, and he had a tweet. He's like, "Oh, after like I've been playing like Death Stranding, after 7 or 8 hours, you gotta hold on, but it finally starts getting interesting. And I don't want to waste 7 or 8 fucking hours before a game might maybe get interesting. Like I ain't got that time to waste. You know how many games I have to play that are actually good? I'm like 8 hours in now, or 7.5, in like Luigi's Mansion 3, and I've been balling over this game from the beginning to end, from the style, the humor, and everything. I'm like sucked into this world. I don't want to have to like walk with Luigi in like the desert in like Mario Odyssey for 8 hours before I can play Luigi's Mansion. Like no.
I mean, just to give my quick thoughts on Death Stranding, the most appealing part about that game, because I will say, my opinion of it has improved versus like when I first saw it. The problem I have with it is that the story is fucking dumb. I was watching a stream on Twitch. I did this like 2 nights in a row. So for people wondering why I didn't stream last night on Twitch, that's why. I ended up watching a good few hours of like story cutscenes and like in the little bit of gameplay you get to do in between. And I'm just like, I like the idea of like that the whole world is kind of like an obstacle that you have to traverse, which makes it interesting. The ruling packages isn't the most intriguing thing, and I wish there was a little bit more variety to it. But like the core gameplay doesn't seem bad. The whole fact that you can build bridges and make things easier, you get vehicles later on in the game, and you upgrade your character. I can respect that as game design. The problem is you got this pretentious ass game sitting there talking about one of the girls' names is Fragile, and in the middle of the game she goes, "My name is Fragile, but I am not fragile." And I was like, "Bitch!" I was like, "This is
or
the shit."
bridges, because he builds bridges.
Yeah. Like it's one of those things where like the most annoying thing about the game for me watching it is the fucking story.
Honestly,
See, that's where I am with Kojima. Like, I find the gameplay in the games to be good to okay to good to maybe great. When you talk about his previous games, but the thing that always throws me off is his convoluted ass stories.
Yeah, the long
cutscenes. Like I say, go ahead, please go make movies and see how that works out for you. Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Let's see how.
Well,
let's see how
I watched
wonderful stories you can build when it's just movies and you have no gameplay to fall back on.
I watched somebody who reviewed it, and they took like almost a movie review, and like it's. I mean, that's just one person's opinion, but they actually reviewed it like reviewing a movie, and they're like, there's literally only one interesting character in the whole game. It's the girl with the short hair, the short blondish hair. She's like a European. The actress's name I forget.
I know you're talking.
And they're like, she's literally she's a really interesting character.
Is it like Amelia?
And she's the only one. And so that review was less about the game and more about the story. But I will say, I've actually become more intrigued about the gameplay in the last week or so, seeing people's clips, but I still can't get past all the cutscene footage I've seen, and I just instant flashbacks to Metal Gear Solid 4. Listen to that arms dealer talk about the war economy for 40 minutes, and I just know that it's probably going to be even worse in this game, and I just can't do it. I can't sit through those cutscenes.
Well, that and just you have less tolerance for cutscenes half the time anyway.
I know, and it's like if I had if someone said like, or if it was just the game and the weird gameplay and the building, reconnecting the world and some of that, I would be intrigued, and I wouldn't be surprised. Not because I think the game's probably going to sell decently. I don't know how well, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's even that game even has a price drop for Black Friday, and it might be $40. And I mean, I might be
like
intrigued.
Shenmue.
Shenmue's already got they already announced a Black Friday price, and the game isn't even out.
Yeah, it's like in half.
So I mean, someday down the road, it's Sony games. They sell big, and then they drop the price first to 40, and then eventually it'll be 20. I might. Who knows? Who knows what the next 2 years will hold? But
no, I mean it's a game that same for me. That like it. I think I probably will pick it up when it just gets cheaper sometime.
It's just one of those curiosities now.
I'm curious. Like I'm curious about the gameplay, but I know the storyline is going to be going to punch myself in the face.
I know that's the hard part.
Yeah,
for me, so.
I know everyone's gonna be praising. I can't see it being that fucking almighty storyline people are gonna make it up to be. I just don't see it happening.
But all right, let's get to these questions. So we got an hour left, and we got a few questions. So, all right, Clocked It asks. This is a question for everyone.
You can delete my. You have to do my question. Let's get to the steps.
You sure?
Yeah, don't worry about me. I won't ask questions.
Yeah,
anymore.
that's a Hollywood movie. Let's start with Lightning 49. We'll come back if there's time. Do you think online play in fighting games or other types of games has ruined what made games like Street Fighter or King of Fighters series or others unique, and why? Well, I think online's only helped because without online, I wouldn't even buy Smash Brothers games.
The only thing I will argue against online is that I always thought I was great at Street Fighter until I went online. Online made me hate Street Fighter.
Well, that's just realizing that you're not.
The one problem I have with fighting games going online is when I grew up, I have like 3 brothers. We played a lot of fighting games, and we have like unwritten rules where, for example, if you play Street Fighter, you can't just fucking like Hadouken in the corner non-stop, That's a pussy gameplay. And you can't like hold somebody in the corner and like down thrust all the time, over and over and over and over until they die, What we do is like you jump in, you hit a few times, you go back, you give people space, That's what you do. But online, people don't give a fuck. They will like Hadouken till you die. Every round, they will like down tackle you over and over and over. And the only difference is that there's no honor, but it's still good because you can still like play anytime you want when you don't have anybody in the house.
You're talking about playing against random tryhards.
Spammers.
Yeah.
So does anybody?
Well,
I mean,
the thing with me is like I grew up in the arcades, so I knew right away if I was good at a fighting game or not, because you go in, you line up, you put your quarter on deck, and wait your turn. And these dudes were beasts. You have 1 or 2 guys who would stay on almost the whole time, and you'd learn from that. So, yeah, without the online, a lot of these fighting games wouldn't have that because obviously just arcades aren't what they used to be, not even close. So that experience is kind of gone. It's gone to online. But the problem is you can't look a bitch in the face when you're standing back Hadouken in the corner and shit instead of
I don't think
being more skilled, playing more skilled.
I think without online, some of these fighting franchises would have died.
For sure.
Probably.
Absolutely.
Mortal Kombat wouldn't sell nearly as good,
that'd be gone.
Because I mean,
I was only joking about me hating, the online. I just, it's just when the internet, obviously, it's kind of like when you used to watch speed runs and stuff. I remember, I rinsed F-Zero GX. I was like, man, I'll beat anyone on F-Zero GX. Now the OGX has never essentially been online. But then when you watch some people play that shit online, where they do like speed runs and stuff, you're like, man, there's just people on another level in this world.
Right.
And you just
like I wouldn't play. I wouldn't. A lot of fighting games. There's other games that I play, Splatoon, shit like that. I don't mind playing without friends, but if it wasn't for playing you guys online, I wouldn't play.
I haven't played Smash Ultimate with randoms yet. Game's been out almost a year, and I've been avoiding it because I know what
I'm in no mood.
Like
for that
Retro
bullshit.
Death said, people are just gonna sit back. They're gonna be Samus. They're gonna spam. They're gonna charge their shots. They're gonna shoot arrows with Link nonstop. They're gonna do all the annoying things, whatever it takes to win. And I've never been like that. I mean, Terrell and I were playing Soul Calibur 6 last night, and that's 2 games in a row now that he's just been better at me. When we both started at the same time with Dead or Alive 6 little demo thing, you were kicking my butt, and Soul Calibur you were winning more than you were losing. Because I can't sit back and wait and counter. Like I've always been a talk kind of like attack first. I get bored just sitting there. Like there was like probably a 10 to 20 seconds where we're both just dancing around like no one was attacking because I was like, all right, I'm gonna win this one. And to me that's just, it's not as fun. But without online, I definitely wouldn't have bought.
Yeah, you're just padding your rank at that point. Like I don't want to play. I don't want to have fights where I'm just helping somebody else pad their rank and shit.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
Well, that's why you had to get good, T.
It's not. It's just not fun.
So
I can't get good at spamming. It's boring.
Dave 97. This was from last week. Now that Luigi's Mansion 3 is out, what game do you think Next Level Games will make next? A new Mario Strikers, a new Punch Out, a new IP, or take over another Nintendo franchise?
I hope it's a new Punch Out.
I think a new Nintendo franchise. Just they've been knocking out of the park with like all of them. So dude,
what?
Mario Party.
Like which one?
What did they do in between? They did Luigi's Mansion 2, then they did Metroid Prime Federation Force, and then was Luigi's Mansion 3 the next game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to see them do something different, but I think Mario Strikers is probably something they would think about reviving too at the same time.
Strikers, baseball, or
basketball. Especially with this
3-on-3.
level of visuals, to go to a Mario Strikers now from the last time we had it was Wii.
Yeah, let's sprinkle some GameCube flavor onto this little Switch console. Let's do some of those more crazier or oddball sports games that they used to do.
And maybe give them their own
sports games. They're really good.
But anybody else?
But we got tennis, and that was that was a disappointment and a half. So
I'm not counting that.
Be careful what you ask for.
Well, but like I love the baseball, dude. The sluggers
baseball
and shit. It was great.
Oh, sluggers.
Sluggers was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what they.
I like
would
the
do.
basketball too.
I wonder what they could do with just a brand new IP. Like I know they don't usually do that where they just make up their own IP, make up their own game, but they seem to be pretty talented. They definitely. I don't know if anybody else noticed this. I noticed it. I think yesterday or Saturday. I was the fan in docked mode playing Luigi's Mansion 3. The fan was on. I mean, almost the whole time. It was on like an extended period of time, and I don't think I've never heard that for that long. And I just really think it's. I think.
Well, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out, but you're right.
I think if you, I had it. Got to a quiet section and I put it on mute and I'm like, got up and I was like, holy shit, like this thing's not turning off. So I think they're really actually pushing the hardware. That's another thing. I think Nintendo's been kind of playing it very safe with doing that, because I don't know if they're worried about overheating issues or things burning out, but I really don't feel like they've actually pushed the Switch until Luigi's
I'm pretty
Mansion
sure
3.
they are worried about that. They want to make sure they don't overclock it.
But I think now at this point they probably feel like, hey,
I cringed at that one. Oh my god.
All right, question for Terrell only.
Huh?
Do you think anime games will improve on being okay to great games next year?
No.
Okay.
Because Bandai ain't shit.
Next question.
No, I guess to give a real answer. Do I think they'll improve from being okay?
What have they done?
The fuck we have next year? We have Kakarot, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, We got another My Hero Academia game. We have another One Piece Pirate Warriors game.
I list them yet. Just say
Whatever happened to the Titans 2 on Switch? Did that come out?
Yeah, Attack on Titan came out.
Oh.
I mean, Attack on Titan, it's hard for me to judge that one because I didn't care for the anime that much, so I didn't. I can't judge it. I think it's a better representation than something like One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, which isn't a good representation of the series at all. The problem is that I feel like Bandai is just has the license, and for the sake of keeping the license, they have to put out games. Like I wouldn't imagine that there'll be another Naruto game in like the next 6 months or some shit because Shinobi Strikers is a piece of shit game that no one talked about as soon as it came out.
Whatever happened to Jump Force? Is that
Jump Force? They had DLC come out for it, I think like a week ago. But fuck that game.
You bought it. You were part of the Jump Force.
Yeah, fuck that.
Remember how excited
that game is a pure example of pretty visual, shitty fucking gameplay.
Yeah. You remember when it was announced during the Microsoft press conference and they got so much credit for showing all those games and they had Jump Force?
We gave them credit because Microsoft usually doesn't promote Japanese games. And I was like, all right, GG. All right, Microsoft, you get support. And they've been pretty consistent with this generation.
Garbage, though.
I can respect it. The game, unfortunately, is a piece of shit.
Even when they're selling 5 copies a week.
Well, that's the problem. I can respect it for promotion, but like it doesn't change the fact that the game isn't good and you shouldn't have bought it. Because if you wanted to play Jump Force, you know what you do? You go back to the PlayStation 3 and you play J-Star Victory Plus because that had a better selection of characters. Fuck you.
Damn.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think the answer would be very long. So
yeah, there's a lot to that.
All right,
I'll leave it at
let's
that.
get to TriLink here. This is a good one. Do you think we'll ever hear from Retro Studios' mystery game before we see some footage of Metroid Prime 4?
Do we have to do this every time?
I'm just going to say
I'm going to go take a nap.
I think we'll see Prime 4 before we see any other Retro Studios game.
This shit, I'm out.
That's just my answer.
I mean, they have to be working on a game, though. Like, right? I don't know.
Are we going to see it before Metroid Prime 4 footage?
I mean, I think it's got. Does it exist?
We saw it before Metroid Prime 4. It was Tropical Freeze. Now move on.
Dude, it will hurt me if that was.
It was Funky
really
Kong mode.
It's time to close their doors if that's the case.
Yeah,
because that's pathetic. That is a pathetic output.
Maybe Retro Studios is the one that I'm gonna blow your mind. Has been working on Pikmin 4.
Ooh.
Oh, no. I don't want that to be the case.
Maybe.
You know what? Maybe the game. Oh, no. Let me be real with you.
He's being funny because he's saying there is no Pikmin.
I know.
4.
Maybe the game is going through development hell and it wasn't worth putting out. Did anyone ever think about that?
Nope.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, turn the lights off and shut the doors, Nintendo, because they.
What do you mean?
Because they did nothing for 4 years.
It happens during game development.
Well, they helped
The thing with Retro Studios is people just always assumed there was another game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair assumption.
Why wouldn't you assume that?
They were helping with a lot of other projects. They were helping
they're
with a lot
sitting
of
around
other
for 7
projects.
years, ain't doing shit. Yeah, what's wrong with assuming that they're working on something?
Because it makes an ass out of you.
Because if not,
Well, they helped with quite a few games, and maybe it took up most of their talent was just helping with the Mario Kart tracks and the Breath of the Wild.
Or maybe they just had a game idea that didn't pan out. That's literally what it could have been.
So
that's true.
Someday we may know the answer, or we never may know the answer.
Maybe we should shut the fuck up.
We may know that we see Metroid Prime 4.
I don't want to say too much because Retro Studios follows me on Twitter, so I don't want
to. That means they watch everything you're into.
Spoken like a corporate chill.
I know.
Maybe they're making the Metroid Prime trilogy, and it's not just going to be a quick little up-res. They're actually going to remake it. And
I mean, that's another thing. That's got to be coming a Switch, right? The Metroid Prime.
The rumor was that it was in development. The rumor was that it was already done, but they waited because they wanted to put it out around the same time as 4's release.
That'd be dumb as fuck.
That's kind of stupid. You want to put it out?
Put it out when there was nothing in the first half of this year to play. You know.
Right.
I mean, there was. We just didn't want
it. Put it out to get people ready for 4. Now.
What'd they put out? They put out New Super Mario Brothers U and fucking
Yoshi.
Well, that Yoshi was what? February or March?
March.
March.
Those two games.
I just want to state, because I'm actually doing a video on this we're talking about Metroid Prime 4 here. And then I hope that it doesn't come out in the last year of the Switch.
Yeah,
The first year, whatever comes.
You know you've
because that's
jinxed
gonna
it.
hurt the sales.
Yeah, but you've
and it's gonna
jinxed it now.
continue the
You know that,
bullshit.
right?
Yeah, they just gotta make it a launch title if they're gonna do that. But
Even if they did that, though, it's gonna hurt the sales because you're talking about a launch system. So
Yeah.
you gotta. So that's what I don't want to happen. That's why I wanted the game to come out sooner because
And Metroid already doesn't sell as it is.
Yeah, but
right,
I think
that's it already doesn't sell.
I think
that
if
well.
it was
Sell
a
it
launch
when the
game
fucking system is popping,
and it
that's
was
when you wanna sell that
and it
game.
was the showcase game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it could be the best selling Metroid game, just like Breath of the Wild continues to sell
Hell's yeah.
because it was that
Yeah, but
that
it has
game.
to come out like soon, like not soon, but like within
Well,
the next year.
Soon.
Its
What
best
do you think?
chance of like
What do you think?
his best chance would
Before all
have
these
been
other consoles come out, and just,
yeah,
who
early
cares
next
about
year would have
Metroid on
been
the
like
Switch?
probably peak prime. No pun intended,
No
or
pun
pun
intended.
intended would have been prime time
pun
for it
intended.
because it's like
Boo.
peak, like Switch is probably at its peak in the next 12 months or so,
Right.
and it's going to probably start to level off to taper
It's
off.
gonna peak soon.
And but all right, so Dave97 asked a question for Clocked. Since Pokemon Sword and Shield takes place in the UK, shouldn't it be called Pokemon Leave or Remain? Ooh.
You funny motherfucker, Dave.
We talking about this man life. Y'all making jokes.
He's funny.
I don't know if B Wild's joking. He hopes he makes the trilogy in Unreal Engine 4. I don't know how much of a tech head you are if you're being serious, but
Yeah,
Unreal Engine 4 is probably
think
the
that's a good
worst case
idea.
scenario because Switch has a hard time running Unreal Engine 4 with above
Yeah.
540p. So I'd rather see like a really
I
clean.
think people who
Customized engine, please.
sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say people who always say like, oh, maybe this game should be made in Unreal Engine 4. I think they're just blinded by people who, for example, used to remake for example, N64 games in Unreal Engine 4, and the people assume Unreal Engine 4 is this magical fucking thing, and nothing else can do that shit.
Yeah, that's Unreal Engine 4 on like a high-end PC
On a high-end
too.
PC.
Like the Switch doesn't really do that well with Unreal Engine 4. Just, I mean, look at the difference between Yoshi's Crafted World and Luigi's Mansion. You know, one built from the ground up versus an Unreal Engine 4 game.
Yeah. I mean, I get why people say that. You probably don't know the ins and outs when it
Yeah, I
comes
think
to Unreal
they could
Engine
use
4
the
engine.
Metroid Prime engine and just tweak it. It'd probably have better results
Right.
because that was running at 60 on the Wii. So
GameCube.
Deku Tree, this is a question that's probably from our beginning of our podcast 3 podcasts ago, but do you remove your clothing when you poop or do you leave your clothes on?
Oh my god.
I leave my clothes on, so I don't know if anyone takes them off. That's kind of.
I got completely naked first, and then I take a dump.
Sometimes because, I like to jump right in the shower.
Yeah, if you're gonna
so-
shower afterwards.
No, I usually just poop in the shower. You know what I mean?
I work with
He
this
has a
kid.
really large drainage system.
He's got a grinder
I
in the
just,
drain.
I just make sure to get very. No, I just make sure to get very skinny. With
It's like
my
a food. It's like a. What do snakes have?
Here's a better question: do you pee in the shower or no?
Depends.
Of course.
Depends on
You gotta
what.
pee. You gotta pee. You
no.
gotta pee.
Yeah, if I gotta
It's
pee,
all
I'll-
We'll meet at the
drained,
shower.
man.
I'll meet
It's
at the
all
shower soaking
drained.
wet, drip water all over the floor.
Someone
Just
told
use
me
the
you
toilet.
get,
Nah, I ain't doing that.
you can get like plantar warts and shit from peeing in the shower.
Man, that's a myth.
You can get what rewards?
Plantar
That's a
warts.
myth, man.
Planet rewards?
Plantar, I guess.
That's
Oh.
not real.
Planters?
Yeah, I've
That sounds
actually,
made up like global warming.
I actually had one. I've had one since I was a kid, actually.
I've been peeing in the shower since I could stand up and pee.
Oh, so just
So-
re- oh, so
So
just
what if
recently.
you're
I
in
have
the
no
shower?
warts,
What if
never
you're in
had
the
any.
shower and you have to pee? You get out and then go
Just
back
pee.
in?
Soaking wet.
You just fucking
Dripping
pee.
all over
I
the
just
floor
make
and
sure it
shit.
goes right in
I
the
mean, you're
drain.
gonna be dripping on the floor regardless.
I make sure it goes right into the drain.
No, I dry off in the showers. That's
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
All right.
I just put a towel on the floor.
Does everybody
this
leave
is
their clothes
way
on?
too much information for our viewers.
Does everybody leave their clothes on? All right. Let's go to Skate's Finest. We'll get back to the other ones. I'll just get to people who would be their first question here. So, for those who have played Luigi's Mansion 3, what's your favorite floor and why, if you have one? Well, I'm only on floor 8, and I would say already it's probably my favorite floor. I just started it, so.
I just figured out how to solve the puzzle. I won't say anything, but how to solve the puzzle on floor 8. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had my mind blown in over 10 years when I figure out a puzzle and I'm like, how do you come up with this shit? It's so goddamn genius. But it's one of my, I don't know, like my favorite floors so far. I always like the forest settings and the plant stuff. I think it was floor 7.
That's spoilers. That's the floor I'm starting.
The garden suites.
I'm starting.
It was floor 7 when it had that shit where I was just like, that is by far my favorite floor because I just like those settings.
Yeah, I just bought the game a few days ago. I'm too poor, so I don't have a lot of Switch games. So I had to wait until I can afford it.
I don't get the joke. Is the joke because you do have money and you do have all the Switch games?
If he was a real Nintendo fan, he would have bought that at launch. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I know. Fraud.
We're going to start calling him Mr. FOMO over here, man.
Oh! Another full circle joke. I love it. That's 2. That's great.
It was your destiny, T. It was your destiny.
You guys are bullies. You're bullying.
We just don't like old people. That's what it is.
I mean,
Robert, what was your favorite floor?
that's the thing is I don't think it's later on. I'll just say it.
Just tell us the number. You don't have to tell us what it is.
I don't know the number. I don't remember.
You don't know how to
number.
count?
I beat it in 4 hours. I don't know the number. It all blended together.
Well, yeah, like how do you, I don't remember the numbers. If anything, you kind of remember more the name, but
I don't know the names. I just remember the numbers, so we're opposite there. Must be different wiring in the brain.
I don't know.
What the fuck?
I could not have told you a single name, but I could tell you all the numbers compared to and describe the level. And
3, 7, 12.
Oh, describe them.
What?
That wasn't a funny joke. But...
What the fuck? What's going on?
All I'll say is that it's cool, and I think it's my favorite one. If not, it's probably I think you guys played this one, the movie one.
That's
that
8.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the one I was just talking
Okay,
about.
well
Yeah.
then I have not.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but if not, it may be later on because there's an awesome badass boss that I'm like, yo, that shit was cool as hell. But I'm not gonna say it.
I'm curious. I'm on floor. Let's see. It'd be 6.
Did you guys do B2, the Boiler Works? That one?
No.
Yeah, I just done that one.
I haven't done that.
I have not.
Okay, I like that one a lot.
I certainly haven't.
I'm wondering if you get something because there's on one of the levels there's a stage, it's a big spotlight on and then next to it there was a hole in the stage or an outline of a square, and I made something pop up and I can't do anything with it. It's just something that I don't know what to do with. And you hit the X and he just like scratches his chin like he don't know what to do, and I can't figure it out. So Robert, is there any late game abilities or anything you gain?
Nah.
No? Okay.
So there's a Boiler Works centric level. I love that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
Grunty, I love that in the Grunty's Industries.
Yeah, well, it's cool because you're like,
Banjo-Kazooie.
you're underground shit.
It's a lovely looking level.
That's one of my favorite sequences.
People talking about it's hard and stuff, but I didn't think it was hard. I don't know.
That was one of my favorite little. I guess
Clanky's
I
Cavern.
don't know if you call it that, but sequences in New Dunk City when you're underground and you're working the pipes.
Yeah.
With all the moons going for the
My favorite sequence is when
that kind of stuff.
When you find the movie theater and it's got the original Super Mario Brothers, and then you enter the pipe and then you play the 2D like you're playing the original Mario Brothers style, but it's actually pretty challenging too. I just gotta say my one. I don't know if I got a favorite level yet because I've had some really good ones. What I have found with the game is what Retro said. There's some puzzles that seem to be where you're having to use Luigi as well and stuff. Man, some of them have me scratching my head thinking, what do you do here? And then when you work them out, you're like, oh man, that was freaking genius. But my level was the only thing I would say is that it was a museum.
Oh my god, yes, dude.
It's not bad either.
and you're not far away from me.
I'm guessing
but,
it's 9 or 10.
Yeah, they call it the Unnatural History Museum.
But it was fucking
Nice.
awesome. So good.
Am I the only one that?
This game's gonna be my goatee. I feel like it's gonna be my.
This
goatee.
might be like, I don't know. This might be weird, but I get so thrilled every time, like on floor 8, the spotlights are moving. Every time it like casts, like you see Luigi's shadow, and then you get closer, and it's like a stretched out shadow. I don't know why I've always been fascinated with like lighting and shadows like that, and it just looks so fucking cool.
Wait until this level, man. It's just I mean, it's still a horror game, man. They do like my 5-year-old daughter was with me. She's like, "Daddy, I don't like it." I was like, "Okay, sweetie, it's okay."
It's funny because I mean, I don't know where this game's gonna end up, but it potentially could be like two of my two favorite games are both technically horror games, I guess, if you will. So that's usually not even my genre. Go ahead.
Like the movie theater level, there's some references to horror movies where I'm like, I can't believe they fucking put that in this game.
I know. I tweeted about that. I was like, "Don't fuck around now, man. Don't fuck around."
Yeah, man. Whatever, man. Luigi's Mansion is a horror game in the same way Smash is a fighting game.
You know what? Let's take a second here.
It's not gonna be a second.
Because I don't know when the nominations are gonna get listed. And I don't think we've talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it or not. Do you think that the official Game Awards, Jeff Keighley Game Awards, that they're going to acknowledge Smash Brothers for this year's award since it came out after the awards last year?
No.
They better. They better.
They should, but I'm going to say no.
Wasn't it? I don't know which one. Wasn't it Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that got completely shafted because it came out like 2 weeks afterwards?
We're talking about
Xenoblade Chronicles also.
A little bit of a. I mean, it sold well, but we're talking about the biggest selling fighting game of all time getting missed versus a JRPG that, I mean, it did well, 1.5 million, I think, at that point. But I think there's almost, unless they snuck it in last year's like best fighting game award, I don't know.
No, they didn't.
Can I just knock that premise down real quick? You talk about sales, son.
I'm just saying.
They put
in
Celeste
their mind
as a game of the year. Get the fuck out.
What do you say?
Celeste was on a GOTY lists.
On Game Awards?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Celeste was.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't think.
Oh yeah, Celeste was.
I think because of the structure, some stuff in December gets overlooked. But I don't think a game this big can get overlooked. That's what that was my point about the sales part of it. Was like I could see Xenoblade Chronicles 2 being kind of forgotten, and well, they make up the list of nominees.
Yeah, I mean, I get you on that, but my point was that Celeste wasn't a huge seller, nor was it a huge.
I mean,
game,
it was definitely raved. It was like
it's indie.
It was a love child of reviewers.
Yeah, it was reviewers sniffing their own farts.
It's indie. That's
a good game.
Because usually, like saying a game, it doesn't. It's usually like Game. I agree with T. Because usually Game Award, it doesn't matter what the fuck the sales are. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was a huge fucking game. Right. And it could never have not been nominated for even a single category with everything that game did. It got shafted because it came out a month. That's why
I wasn't disagreeing. I'm just saying.
They did it in like fucking November or shit.
I think.
I think me and Richard's point is that they don't have any excuses. Like, oh, it's not a big game or it's not the set, because we have examples of where the big game or the smaller games have been. Recognized. So
I just think there would be it'd be almost impossible for them to not put Smash in some category. So
I think they got enough backlash for that there's no way to not putting it in there.
I'm going to say it's going to be there, and I'm even going to say it's going to be a Game of the Year contender.
I'd be surprised.
I'm saying it's
we
not.
all know Death Stranding is going to win. I mean, Jeff Keighley is in it.
I think Death Stranding will be on Game of the Year list.
I say I'd be surprised if it's on Game of the Year list, but why should I?
No, I won't be. Death Stranding, I think, is almost a lock for Game of the Year nomination for Jeff Keighley's award. I don't think anybody else.
Are you going to be that transparent?
I mean, what is there really like 50 people that judge this though? I mean, that would be. I mean,
is he going to be that transparent?
Let's find. Yeah. I think we should watch it. Maybe not the whole thing, but tune in, like, because I think it went on way too long. It's funny because it goes on too long, but then they also
recuse himself. He should recuse himself. Is he
He's
still
not
close to
going.
the game
He's
developer?
not going. He's not going.
But the Game Awards simultaneously goes on too long and then doesn't give enough time to the awards. Like it's just
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
It's
What
bullshit.
about the
It's like
performance?
So I
way
think
too much
maybe
filler.
we should like 2 hours in start a live stream and just wait for the game of the year to get discussed during the show.
No, man, you gotta do the whole
They
thing.
got to pay
you know?
for the show somehow, you know.
You gotta do the whole thing. Whole thing,
not
or
cheap.
That's not going to be very very entertaining. So anyway, Surreal has a question. What is the worst / hardest video game enemy you had to defeat? And I know mine instantly, and that's the Wonderful 101. That dude that basically has all the powers you have. That guy,
Vorkin.
That guy was such an annoying pain in the ass. I've never been so frustrated in a boss fight. And I mean, yeah, I was glad I got through it, but I didn't even have that rewarding feeling. Like I finally did it. I was just like, that was just bullshit from start to finish. That was my least favorite for sure.
I have one. The fucking, I forget the name of it. The fucking Matt Sciences and robot from Cuphead. That fucking boss can go eat a dick. I hate that thing. It's literally, it's such it's like a difficulty spike in the middle of the fucking game. Like Satan himself is easier than this piece of shit. I fucking hate it. I forget his name.
Somebody just made a good point. We're back to they'll probably create a genre or a category so Death Stranding can get nominated if it doesn't get
Best Stranding game.
Best delivery
No, it's gonna
simulator.
get best narrative. That's what's gonna get.
It's gonna be most innovative creation.
Best delivery simulator. Something. Just like they made up.
Category is gonna be best Kojima game.
Because they made up categories.
Stretchers from Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
They sell.
That's the best new game. That's the best new game of the generation.
And I got Alex.
What was the boss question exactly? I need the wording for it.
The worst or hardest, or both.
Okay, so for because the worst, I would have to think long for that. My hardest was in Darksiders 2. Darksiders 2 is pretty open, and at one point you get in the Kingdom of the Dead, which is the biggest open world part of the game, and you're basically free. There's like 14 dungeons, I think, in the Kingdom of the Dead alone. And there's one dungeon you can almost get in from the beginning, but you're definitely not supposed to. So I went in there, I solved the dungeon, and there's a boss in the end. He's called the Deposed King.
Yeah, the Deposed King.
This dude is a motherfucker. And I spent a week trying to beat him. And at one point I was like, maybe I should come back later. So then I did the entire Kingdom of the Dead. I came back, still couldn't fucking beat him. He was fast and strong and insane. And even when you master every move in the game, every avoiding tactic, you maximize all your abilities, he still fucked me up. I think near the end of the game, I went back and then I barely beat him. It was the most satisfying boss victory I ever had. And I still consider him one of the hardest bosses I ever fought.
I completely agree. That with the Deposed King, especially if you're not leveled up, you run, like you said, you run pretty early. He will hand you your ass in a paper sack, and you get so frustrated. I also barely beat him after going back to him towards the end of the game. But that wouldn't be my pick. My pick is Omega Pirate from Metroid Prime. I was ready to quit on that fucking game.
Oh, really?
I was literally, something was not registering with me as far as, because you have to keep switching your weapons. And it felt so clunky to me at first. And I was ready to give up on Metroid Prime and pretend that I beat it. Hey, I beat that game.
So by the time you got to Metroid Prime, were you used to that switching mechanic?
Oh, yes. By the time I got to Metroid Prime, I was fine.
See, I don't remember.
So I'm glad that I went through that with Omega Pirate.
I think
Omega Pirate was an awesome boss fight.
I disliked Ridley
more.
It
was great, but it handed me my ass. I was frustrated as hell in the beginning. So.
All right, Robert, did you give an answer yet?
I mean, there's so many that they kind of start to blur with each other, to be honest, when I think about it. But like, I'd probably say I'd have to go with probably Father Gascioni in Bloodborne. And that dude was a pain in the fucking ass. I even made a video raging on it. What?
Father Gascoigne.
Oh, wait, really? Is that what it is?
You call him Gascioni?
Yeah, I just call it Gascioni.
Oh, shit.
Yo, no one ever corrected me. I made a whole video of that shit. No one ever.
Gascoigne. That's
how'd you say it? Say it again.
Gascoigne.
Gascoigne.
Are you sure? Is that
Wait,
Gascioni?
I'm googling the name real quick.
Dude, that shit is spelled like
Gascioni.
Gascioni. So I'm like, all right, Gascioni. Regardless,
Taylor.
You're Gascoigne. Yeah, I see.
Coin, yeah.
Gascoigne.
Yeah, Gascoigne.
Well,
It's
he had a whole video calling it Gascioni, man.
Regardless, in my books, his
To
name
be
is
fair,
Gascioni.
I can see how you could get it.
In my books, he's Gascioni, and
He's
And
part
he
of the
was-
gas mafia or some shit.
he was a pain in the ass. I mean, there probably isn't one that's even harder, but I can't quite remember right now.
Was he a pain in the ass, Gioni?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
he was, Joe. He was.
All right.
And yeah, it's
There's
probably
actually guides on how to beat him, so I guess you weren't the only one that
Yeah.
had problems with it.
that. Look at that, Gascioni.
He's not
Clocked
letting
it.
it go.
Yeah, I mean, in recent memory, I'm kind of on in Rob's books as well. Father Gascoigne, I mean, he was just the next fucking level of fuck you. I really struggled with the Bloodstarved Beast in Bloodborne. He was hard as fuck. A boss I never beat was Lawrence, the first vicar, who was in the DLC. So fuck Bloodborne and most of the bosses in that game.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm looking at footage. Holy shit!
Yeah, but do you know what? I'm gonna be fun. And one of the hardest bosses I've ever raced against was the original race against Whizpig in Diddy Kong Racing on the N64, and you had to be fucking perfect. In that race. Every single boost, you could have missed one fucking boost, or you might as well just start again. And Whizpig, it was just brutal. He run fast as shit. If you touched him, he would just stamp on you. You get squashed. You might as well just start again. One of the most brutal
I hate
races,
that
and
shit.
you had to play that shit at like fucking 20 frames a second in that race as well. So to fucking master the frame rate, to control all the boosts, and against that big son of a bitch who took up most of the screen. Oh my God, Whizpig was a son of a bitch. But when you beat him, oh my God, I would dance around like a fucking nutter. And you have another race against him later on in space when you're flying and stuff, which is easier. But that first race, fuck me, yeah, Whizpig, man, I'll never forget him, ever. Yeah.
All right.
That's must.
So Deku Tree asks, there was a rumor that morale at Game Freak is at an all-time low. Thoughts on this? I'm assuming if it's true, what are your thoughts? And does anybody have any?
It's not even a rumor, man. Come on.
Anybody have any
I don't
insight
think it's
in that?
true.
I could understand.
Some random dude randomly assumed it. I don't even know why. I think because of all the random hate with the Pokédex, and somebody
Yeah.
randomly said like, they must be pretty low the morale, and then everybody just does what they always do in the fucking gamer community. Damn, they must be ready to commit suicide, all of us. Like, come on,
Toxic
give me a
fans,
fucking
toxic
break.
Don't forget the
Retro.
question.
There's
Retro.
nothing going on there.
Retro, thank
Yeah.
you.
But
I
you know
didn't
what?
have to- I didn't have to say a goddamn thing. Thank you, Retro.
But you know what happened to counter it? There's like a fucking Twitter love fest for the company, and it's just really weird and entertaining.
Pokemon fans are very
That was pretty good.
Oh, we love you guys. Keep up the good work.
Game Freak must
Can I
have been
kiss
like,
your
"Hey."
balls?
Yeah. Game Freak was sitting there. They looked at the computer and said, man, people love us. They looked at the neighbor. Were you about to kill yourself? Like, no, like, I just had lunch. I feel pretty good.
It was a weird few months. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm
Sorry, I missed the question. What was the question about?
We're not. It's over. I didn't realize it was fake. I didn't realize it was fake news.
It was a rumor about.
It feels like fake news.
It was a rumor about Game Freak's morale being low.
I saw this. Yeah, I didn't pay any attention. They're fucking just low full stop
All
anyway.
right, move on to the next thing. Rocky, I don't think we talked about this on there. I think we, or maybe briefly, last week. What do you guys think about Divinity Original Sin 2 being the first Switch game to use the Switch Friends invite system and not a first-party game?
I just learned that today.
Yeah, I didn't know that too.
We're gonna let Juice have his.
Didn't
right
Game
moment,
Explain
'cause he was
show
shooting
that
his
in?
off.
Didn't Game Explain show that?
Yeah, they showed it in
what
the
I
video.
thought,
Yeah.
I didn't watch.
But I imagine you were pretty pissed off, Juice. So I'm gonna just let you have.
I mean,
just
I don't-
run with it.
I'm
care.
pissed off. I'm just disappointed. I
Yeah,
continue to be
disappointed,
disappointed.
yeah.
To
When
quote
other
Terrell,
companies
I wasn't
beat you
surprised.
to these things. Like I was disappointed when what's the game? Fortnite has
Voice chat, dude.
voice chat,
Ridiculous.
in system voice chat.
And there's another
and
game
Nintendo
has
doesn't.
it too.
Like that's the kind of stuff that doesn't. I don't get mad. I just get.
Overwatch has
disappointed knowing where Nintendo has come from and knowing the innovations and the stuff they used to push on their consoles to what they're doing or what they're not doing at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely not a
Wait,
anger
Overwatch has
situation.
what?
Well, yeah, Overwatch has voice chat.
Are you serious, dude? What the fuck?
Yeah, Overwatch. Has
Yeah, but
voice chat too,
who uses? You have to have a headphone plugged into the fucking top of the Switch. Like
That's why
yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
why do you think
cumbersome.
Nintendo promotes those third-party controllers that have like headsets on the controller, and everyone's in the comments like, "Why don't you just put out a controller that has a headphone jack in it?"
That
you
too,
do that from the
yo.
beginning with
That
the Pro
too. That
Controller?
too.
It's such a weird thing they promote. Look, PDP has a new controller.
probably
out.
because the Bluetooth they went with wouldn't support back and forth audio or something.
I'm just saying, make a new controller that has headphone jack support for it.
Well, then they'd have to be able to talk to this. There have to be something in the Switch that can work wirelessly with audio going back and forth like that. So I don't know if it's in there or not. Probably is.
Time for another Switch revision.
Time
Put
for
a fucking dongle in it. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
put
plug a
USB
dongle into the
that allows-
USB.
But there's stuff they can do. They just don't do it. I don't understand. Again, I showed you guys on Twitter. I found my
Faulty on Twitter, guys.
My Pokemon Snap sticker album, because you could take pictures in Pokemon Snap on the N64, take those photos into Blockbuster.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Plug in your, I
Steve
can't remember if it was a
here,
memory
and I've got
card
my
or
very
your actual cartridge. I think it was your cartridge. Plug it into the little setup, print out stickers, and then put them into your little that was back in '98.
See, could you do that with Pilot Wings 64?
Pilot Wings, I think you could do it with as well.
I would have fucking loved that.
Like, that was crazy stuff.
I'm trying to find that game explained.
For them to be doing that kind of stuff back then and struggling with these things.
Have you noticed now that people are starting to do even more Game Boy camera art? And
oh yeah, Game Boy camera art, yeah.
It's coming back a bit. People are like taking like photos.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah,
there was a time where you were going to be able to take your own photo on Game Boy, using your Game Boy camera and put it into Perfect Dark, but because of Columbine, they didn't do that shit because that's why
I cannot find that
decided against it. But
Game Explain video that shows that Divinity Original Sin. But I mean, Terrell, just like you said about the whole Black Friday thing, I'm not surprised. I don't get mad about that kind of stuff anymore. It's just like the fact that they updated the OS to have a place where you could receive invites. Let's say you missed the on-screen prompt, and they made it so you go up to the upper left under your profile or whatever, and you can find a game invite. In the Divinity game, if you catch in time, I think you hit the home button and while it's on screen, and it just instantly pops it up, and you hit accept, and it just booted up the game and took them right to the lobby. And I was like, maybe somebody's done it now. Maybe people will start using it moving forward. But the fact that Nintendo didn't update Smash 6.0 update to take advantage of it, like, I mean, how stupid is that? You create a lobby. They fixed some of the lobby stuff so you can change the rules. Now let me go to my friends list and invite people that are on their Switch to come play. Like, it's just why is that not a thing?
Do you know what we need?
And we're talking about free games. Fortnite's free game.
We need these big industry websites and YouTube channels who interview Nintendo to ask these questions. No one asks these questions.
Nobody asks. They like access. They're too
don't you
worried
do
about
this?
losing access.
Why are you doing it this way? Why haven't you done it this way? Can you explain to us your thought process on this, please?
Put some pressure on these people and
obviously they
explain this stuff.
Somebody put enough in their ear that they added it to the OS. Maybe it was some developers are like, hey, we want an invite system.
They were planning it from the beginning.
Yeah, it was always on the back burner. All right, so I got it on screen. First, you got to sign into your Steam. Oh, you don't think you have to sign
All I see is a commercial.
Oh. This game also has cross-platform saves with Steam, so you could play it on your PC at high settings, and then when you want to play it on the go, you use the Switch as portable, and then you want to get it back, have the better on TV experience, and you go back to your PC, and you have all your save files just right there.
Mm. This is a game I still want to play.
That's great.
I'll get it on PC though.
All right, so we hit a button. Now it goes to his friends list. He can check. It shows the guys playing. hits invite, and then it switches to the other screen. And then it showed on his screen. He hits the home button, and it says accept and play. Nintendo. This is all through the OS. Nintendo put all this in, and
they don't even
and the only game that's done it is this. I never honestly even heard of this game until whenever it was in the, I don't know if it was in the E3 Direct or whatever Direct it was in. I think it was E3. And I don't know how big this game is on PC. Maybe it's huge. Maybe it isn't. But look how easy that was.
There's another game called Pillars of Eternity as well. These two games, came out and they really shook up the RPG genre, which we haven't really seen for a while. So, but there's two games that this is one of them. I've just wanted to play for ages, and it's great that it's on the Switch. But for me, this is a proper mouse and keyboard game.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm not hating. I'm not upset. I just know them to be better, and I'm frustrated and annoyed by them not being better. When I know them, I've seen them, I've experienced them to be better.
So somebody had to put in the work to add all that to the OS. Somebody actually had to do that, accept and join. The whole invite thing, I didn't even realize it showed up quite like it did.
Waddle Dee avatar.
So somebody put in the work at Nintendo to add that. So why haven't we seen it in their online games? It's just.
I think they did it for third parties and.
You think they created that just for third parties though, just for this one? So for one.
Not for this one game, but I'm saying I feel like it's one of those things that like the third parties are more of the focus there than the first parties.
That seems
we have first party
developers.
I'm just saying because we have first party developers who don't even remember. Oh yeah, maybe we should put in for Mario Maker 2. We didn't even put in a playing with friends option. Like that wasn't even our first choice.
I wonder who at Nintendo was responsible for making these features and testing it, and you think it would been. You can't just do that without some approval from some people up pretty high.
It's not good enough for us. We'll put it for third parties.
I mean, how
that's just weird.
How great would that be for Smash instead of just waiting for somebody? Hopefully, they search for open lobbies. Like I've always told the story. I mean, you still can't message the person, but I have a friend that was from Wii U. We'd message each other back and forth. We became friends on Switch like 2 years ago, and never once have played a game together because I don't know. She maybe doesn't even play some of the online games, but. Still, you gotta hope somebody turns on the game, goes to the online of Smash, searches for arenas by friends, and hopes that there's somebody's friend lobby open. Like it's, and then hope they don't have a password that you don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is stuff I mostly don't care about, and I've said it in videos throughout the years. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be a thing. Like just because I don't personally need or want some of this stuff.
I wish
this is stuff that's been on consoles for like 15, 16, 17 years.
I wish I had CK's optimism. He thinks that because they need to update it, that their online games will be updated soon. Why wouldn't they worked on to make the implementation of the system?
Yeah.
So why didn't they have a game ready to use it
first
at the launch? Why put it out? I don't know. It's crazy to me. It's just one of those baffling things. It's a head scratcher.
It's just like you said. It's just we were frustrated from the start, and from the Switch launch, and these frustrations haven't gone away. It's plagued the Switch, in that respect. Not to the point where we hate the console, but it's just there in the back of your mind, just thinking, fuck, just why?
Yeah, just
why?
I just want it to be. We want it to be the best it can be, man.
Because look,
that's all.
It's in there. It's in the OS.
Yeah.
Put it in your games and make it become where everybody knows to use this invite system, and it works for Mario Kart, it works for Smash, it works for Mario Maker, it works for ARMS, and stuff like that. And then your online just took a corner and it's starting to head towards something that's a little bit more acceptable and understanding, because we're talking about all this Black Friday deal, whether it's good or not. But the point is, millions of people are going to be new Switch owners come a couple weeks from now, and they might not get it till Christmas, and they might be guys who've guys and gals who've mainly gamed on Xbox and PS4 finally like the Switch just became something they couldn't ignore anymore. They want it, they get it, and they're used to a certain level of connectivity with their friends. And I just feel almost embarrassed for Nintendo to think of the person who's longtime Xbox person finally gets a Switch, buys Smash or Mario Kart, adds his friends with the friend code thing, and then can't do anything to like get a match
what it
going.
Reminds me of? It reminds me of the first time Next Gen played his Wii U. What is this dog shit? I can't do anything.
That's crazy thing is you could do a lot more with that.
guys,
I just think about that video.
I'm gonna post the link in the Google Hangouts because I feel the need. I feel like
is there an update?
Not an update, but it's something funny. Remember, there's a certain service coming out this year. There's a certain service coming out this month.
Stadia.
And I was like, oh,
well, not this year. It comes out in 8 days, dude.
Hey, listen, I'm trying. It's still this year. I was still right.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you make it sound like next, dude. That shit.
Well, there's only 2 months left in this year.
What am I missing here?
The Stadia launch lineup you're talking about?
Isn't that crazy, yo?
Pretty.
Is this it?
It's not that crazy.
12 games.
Talk about no hype whatsoever, though. Like, what's going on?
What am I missing?
I mean, there's.
But listen, it has the 3
On
best Tomb
Hangouts.
Raider games on it.
It's got
It's the 3 best Tomb Raider.
It's got Mortal Kombat 11.
Wow.
It's got the. The game everyone was talking about, Samurai Showdown 5, or the Samurai Showdown, the reboot or whatever that came out this year.
What about Thumper?
I mean, you're being sarcastic, right?
Yeah, I don't think one person could tell me what month that game came out.
Why y'all messing with them?
What do you mean, why?
So
Why?
Stadia has
Look at you
for
defending
those
a
that
company, how
aren't
dare
following
you.
along,
Oh,
Stadia has
however-
12 games available at launch. The 3 Tomb Raider new games, Red Dead 2, Samurai Showdown, Mortal Kombat 11, Just Dance 2020, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Destiny 2, and a couple games I can't quite.
I do want to play that game, Guilt, though.
I don't know those 3 of these
I want to
games.
play that game.
But seriously,
Those
that's
are big titles, man. Those big titles.
It's only on Stadia.
This is on
Just
launch.
Dance
I don't know about
2020.
Thumper, though. That's
Just
Hey,
Dance
oh, did you
2020.
see that? Did you see that news thing that came out today about how Just Dance on the Wii outsold the PS4, Xbox One versions?
That's just crazy.
That shit's funny
That's
as fuck.
They need to
impossible,
give up
I
on
think.
that. Just
I think that was in UK though. I think that was
so
only
anyway,
UK.
yeah, that's kind of that's not a great launch lineup. It's
No.
not a strong start.
You're not intrigued?
I am intrigued
Can
for
I- I
Guilt,
mean-
though. I'm intrigued for Guilt, man.
The only and then they
Guild does
said-
look good, though.
they do have a few other games that are coming out in 2019, which includes Wolfenstein, Rage 2, Trials Rising, NBA 2K20,
Yeah, I mean, but that's
It's all.
So this
games
is it?
by-
This is it.
Borderlands
Yeah.
3, Darksiders.
I mean, that's a
Genesis.
slow build. They're starting from. I mean, what? Because it there must be some.
This is
something
it for
involved.
day one.
Yeah, that's it.
Are
Yeah.
you fucking kidding me?
That's what we're starting
What do
with.
you
T.
play,
You're
how do you
excited.
play these games? Do you have to just straight up buy them?
It's the future.
Well,
Sorry.
well, yeah. I mean, to be fair,
Well, how do I know if the service even works for me? Like, can I
well,
test
that's the
it?
thing. So that's the thing is that with this, which is
This is
cool about,
trash.
Jesus,
No.
T.
what's
Tell me
cool
how you really
about
feel.
Guilt, for instance, is that technically, again, just like you don't need the console, you just buy the game. You know, it's not like you're buying the service.
Well,
you just
it's
buy
not out
Guilt.
on any.
No,
other
I thought
system?
you had to buy the service.
No,
All these old ass
no, you
games.
should buy
Shit
Guilt,
out
dude. Come on.
You can't get
Come
Guilt
on.
on Steam right now.
No, it's a Stadia exclusive.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a few Stadia exclusive
Stadia
games.
exclusive.
That's all I needed to know. So,
I saw there was only one.
Are you signing up right now?
so you have to buy it before
Well,
you
yeah,
can
I
even
mean exclusive as in just exclusive.
before you can
It's
even
different.
test it and make sure that it's acceptable
That's
for
the
you.
problem. Hopefully, you could do. There should be some type of test.
Yeah, we
right?
want some demos, bitch.
like a demo thing. Yeah, like a demo thing. Hopefully,
I
they-
want to
they
be able to
gotta do
play
that,
and see
right?
if the input lag is what it is. I want to play it on different devices, and then, I mean, I'm still not going to buy a game on it.
This
but
is trash.
that list is pretty
Gee, we
pathetic.
heard you the first time. Goddamn.
I'm looking at the rest of the list.
She's
Like,
that dude in the back, like, shut the fuck
The
up.
thing is, there's no personality to that lineup. You know.
None.
It doesn't have any kind of, it's just kind of some random games. I mean, as much as I love Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider, they weren't like huge selling games. I mean, they're part of Game Pass, so it's How many of those games can you play for $1 or $2 for a month of Game Pass? I think.
Remember Rage 2? Remember
Rage 2? Yeah, I forgot about that. Came out this year.
Most people forgot about poor Rage 2.
Man, I was looking forward to that game. I'd probably still get it.
I'm gonna get it one day.
I'm gonna get it at some point. Maybe
sometime
next year.
Why y'all lying? Why y'all lying?
Oh, I am.
It just seemed like I don't know. They
I
tried to
just
do
bought
too
it
much.
this year. I'll get it at some point.
I think Rage 2 tried to do too many different things. That's
like what?
So
just like you got this open world where you go here and it's almost like a team deathmatch.
Chill out, yo.
I guess you'd have to watch more footage because it's like different areas were different kind of like game mode type things for the online and I don't know. It felt like it was too discombobulated. Like what kind of game is it? Like
what word, yo? That's
I wanted Rage 2 originally because I was like, maybe I'll play this until one day maybe Borderlands 3 comes out. But then they announced Borderlands 3 and released it. So now I'm like, now do I need Rage 2 still?
Dude, Borderlands 3.
Speaking of Borderlands
3, that's the other game that's coming on Stadia later this year. What's up with those review
scores?
I heard there was a bunch of bugs in the game.
When did it come out?
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, bugs.
Yeah, I heard there.
Oh, that's not bugs. That's not bugs.
Yeah, I heard.
What the fuck?
I heard it was a good game.
Oh, bugs, Bethesda's probably made it.
Oh shit. Oh my goodness.
My bad. That's
Also, side note, Robert, just to let you know, Stadia is a subscription service. So
no, but the whole point was that you could buy games without using the service because the service only gave you 4K. Remember that was the whole point.
All right.
So you can.
Is that the whole point? So what?
Dude, the whole point was
games.
that you could buy individual games.
But only
no, you're right. You're right.
But play them at what, 1080?
If Terrell doesn't even know, how does the everyday consumer fucking know? You know.
So you're telling me you buy the game, and if you don't have the subscription, you can't play it in 4K.
Yeah, no. The subscription is for 4K.
That's what I'm saying.
No, the subscription is also the game.
Is that what you said? Yeah. Then yeah.
You can't play the bitch in 4K unless you subscribe.
What?
Say it again.
I'm just confused.
No, say it again, Juice. We didn't hear you.
I'll break it down.
You didn't hear me.
I'll break it down for you. So the way it is like if you wanted to buy Guild, right? You could be like, hey, I'm gonna buy Guild, and you just buy Guild. That's it. And if you're like, but I need this shit in 4K, then you go, all right, well then let's go and get the service for you, my guy, and then we get the service.
Upgrade your service there.
And then with the service, now you have the 4K plus the selection of games they'll give you, which is I think only Destiny for it or something. Remember like how they also.
So what's the point of buying anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would rather just buy the things than.
Well, I mean,
I'd just buy the game on PC.
I guess because I'm looking at this from a different type of consumer.
But at least for Guild, you know, if it's an exclusive,
oh yeah, well you can't do anything about Guild.
I'm just thinking about like Terrell, like
technically,
you would have way more benefit just if the game wasn't exclusive, but because you ran Soul Calibur 6 in 4K at 60 frames per second with your computer.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
So now you gotta pay to access the 4K when you already have something that can run 4K. It's definitely not for you. It's for somebody.
Like Microsoft type of shit.
It's for somebody who
doesn't
want to build a PC, doesn't want to buy a graphics card. That's who it's for. So it's a completely separate type of.
That's what I said from the beginning.
It's not for PC guys. Well, it's not for console, gamer type guys.
Yeah, remember, it's only
I think it's landing in the weird area where technically 5-10 years from now, and let's say it's still normal, just consoles and only Stadia. I know it won't be that. It's going to be different, at least what it looks like. But imagine if people start learning that they don't need to buy the next Xbox or something. They could just play with Call of Duty on Stadia.
You have to have those games.
That could be potentially taking some customers. But I don't know. It depends if they can convince those everyday people to be like, hey, you don't have to spend $500. You just have to spend $60, and you already have the internet. You're cool, man. You could play with your friends on here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or Stadia or Google could walk away from this shit in a year and a half, 2 years, and fuck it.
That's true too, yo. That's true too, yo.
You know what I'm saying? Like DC Universe. Those people who paid for that shit's gone.
Lasted like a month.
Yeah, what happens if you buy a game on Stadia and it doesn't turn out to be the big thing?
You stuck with that shit, yo.
And it's
I wonder if you could maybe be like, hey man,
no.
It
just to me,
they do cancel. Like,
Imagine the customer.
What happens?
No.
Here's what bugs
Keep
me
that
about
game.
it, because like I said, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around it because as a PC, a guy who's had a decent PC since 2013, if I just choose to play the game on my PC, then if I buy the game, then I'm not limited to, oh well,
you can play whatever
unless I
settings you
pay
want.
Steam a monthly fee, I can only play this game at 720. That's the part that just does not make any sense to me. If you buy the game,
I agree, man.
you should
do
have
what the fuck you want to do with it.
and the service should just be like Game Pass kind of mixed, a little bit of Game Pass type of thing where I'm playing monthly. Now I can just play these games, but I don't own them, and stuff like that. That's to me. But who knows? Maybe this thing will be huge.
Well, yeah. Even if you buy the game, you're still streaming that bitch. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's why you're still stuck to
I guess
their
you're paying for
parameters
the
as far as-
extra.
It blows my mind.
Extra
Why can't
bandwidth?
you just download it, dude? It's so stupid.
I don't know. But anyway, we better wrap this up. Podcast is over.
Kills us.
And so it was an interesting beginning. A little bit of a debate. But
That's good. You don't want a bunch of circle
No.
jerking going on. In your
exactly,
podcast.
and it's like we said,
You ain't touching me, man.
we could bash Sony, we could bash Death Stranding, but then some of us at least were maybe bashing Nintendo a little bit this week. But in the past, we've all done it with the online and with some of the re-releases of the ports.
I'm just disappointed all those people bought Mario Kart, and it's such a fucking rehash game. That's,
Whoa. Fuck those people.
Honestly,
who the fuck told y'all to buy
I don't
the same
regret
game?
buying it, and I'll tell you, I have one very good reason. It's because all I have is the digital version on the Wii U, which we know some days is gonna be gone as soon as my external hard drive takes a shit. That game's gone forever for me. So at least I have a physical copy of the game now.
Yeah.
That's my one saving grace.
Again, for me, they actually added something significant. They didn't just shit out the same game and ask for $10 more.
So you're part of the problem. Fucking.
Or release a game that's now 7 years old, and this year they re-released it for $60 and added absolutely no content.
Nothing.
So
what game is that? What are you saying?
New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe.
Oh yeah.
No, you get new Luigi U with it.
Oh, you get new Luigi.
Yeah, you
right.
get the DLC with it.
Yeah,
Wait, they already did that before.
You could
still-
play with like the. You
They
could play
already
with
did that
the.
before, if you guys remember.
Again, though, that they already re-released on the Wii U. They had those two together for.
And you got
60.
Peachette.
Yeah, I don't even think it was 60.
And
when
you got that new Peachette, yo.
when they bundled those two together on the Wii U. it
Robert
wasn't
was so
60.
excited.
So anyway, thanks
I
for
wanna
everybody
get my
for
Peach
tuning
way.
in. If these guys will shut up, I'll wrap this podcast up. Trying to sign off here. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and good questions again. Keep them up, and we'll be back next week. Do it all again. See ya.
Keep my